Hey, how's everyone doing today?
What's going on, people? Oh my goodness! Oh my God! Is
Well, welcome to the Gay Boy Mansion, Studio V.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad to have you.
Thank you so much. It is such an honor and a privilege to be in the Gay Boy Mansion.
Yes.
All the rooms. You hear the echoing?
Echo. It's because we're in such a large cavernous space.
We're in Studio B, which is on the west side of the house. In
the
basement. That was my crib wall. That's as good,
Alrighty then.
That's as good as you're gonna get.
So, the first thing I want to say is I saw Todrick Hall's new video. Todrick Hall is giving straight white girl who was just introduced to black, gay, and trans culture, but doesn't know any black, gay, or trans people.
I second that. But at the same token, I'm whelmed. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not underwhelmed. I'm whelmed.
First, I want to say that I'm mad because there's already a gay anthem called "It's Raining Men."
We're gonna leave that alone. We just no. Just let it go.
I can't let it go.
Just let it go.
I am.
You know what happens when you don't know your history?
Mm-hmm.
You repeat it,
mm-hmm.
or you try to reinvent the wheel, and it's already been reinvented. And that's what he did.
In a world where there's a song called "Raining Men," why would you make a song called "Raining Fellas"?
Whelmed.
Plus, his voice also annoys me. Every time I hear him singing, I was like, why does he have albums? I mean, guess he's self-produced, whatever, but he's not a good singer. He's none of his lyrics. I mean, even the songs that are sort of like a cute little bop, it's not a bop because he's a good singer in it. I mean, it's some cute little.
They're cute. They're catchy.
That's kind of catchy.
Yeah.
But I'm just like.
They're catchy, and he is very. If it's not kitschy or catchy for him, it's not going to do well. And I don't think that this song is kitschy or catchy enough.
Not at all. I mean, the lyrics, yes, he's very much a snow queen.
Yeah. And so, yes, I also think that he tried to capitalize on the fact that this is Pride Month. Listen, I just want to let everybody know. Happy Pride. So I think he tried to capitalize off of that. Mm-hmm. But I hate when people try to capitalize off of something that's not like that they're not either a part of or they don't necessarily know the whole thing. And that's my thing with that song, just like you said.
That's what I literally mean by a white girl who has been introduced to black gay culture, but doesn't know any black gay or trans people. So it's weird that he's a black gay person, yet his sound sounds like someone who is outside that community.
Is Todrick black?
Genetically.
Okay.
Not culturally.
I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. I did. And listen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with not.
No, I mean, there are a million ways to be black. Everybody that's black ain't either got to be Black Power or yes, Queen. I mean, there's a million ways to be black.
Right.
And the way that he is executing his blackness in the world is not my issue. It's that I'm just not a fan of his aesthetic. And if you are, that's fine. But my thing is, it's unfortunate that people like Todrick Hall and all of these other derivative gay artists are out there with the whatever because they're appealing to this they're using a black and trans aesthetic to appeal to non-black, non-trans people.
Okay, so yes.
So he's popular because of that. Because, I mean, I'm not saying there aren't some black gay people that feature him, but most of the ones that I know don't really feature her like that.
So, again, he had a couple of cute little bops. Because
he has had a couple of... Listen, Taylor Swift has had a couple of cute little bops that I'm like, well... maybe that's putting too fine a point on it. But there's a couple of songs where I wouldn't turn them off if a Taylor Swift song came on. I would never go to a Taylor Swift concert. I mean, I like to think that I listen to all kinds of music.
Absolutely.
And it's not my music, but my thing is more about the aesthetic, and it feels very appropriating.
I agree with you.
Weird, given that he is a Black gay person.
I don't, and however he identifies, because I'm not sleeping with him. I don't know nothing about that man.
He is a homosexual. I mean, that's not in doubt.
Todrick Hall is a homosexual. But I don't know. It's the visually, the video, like the costume changes, all that type of stuff. It was like, it's a lot, as most of his videos are. One part that I thought was cute though, the part where they were laying on the ground, they had their legs, they were covering their junk, and they were laying across their legs. I thought that was cute from a visual and a choreography perspective. Like, there's a part of that. The first 45 seconds. Well, with the man that hits it in the butt. And
I mean, I watched a little bit past that, but when he started singing, I was like,
there's a part where he's laying on the ground. It's like 5 or 6 of them and laying on the ground, and they're all naked. And they're basically laying down, holding their junk, and the camera's over top of them. So they have their legs up, and they're doing this little acrobatics thing where they're crossing their legs and doing this dance while they're laying on their back. The visual of that, because they're all in sync, is kind of cute.
He feels like the kind of person that you would meet at MAL or IML. You wouldn't meet them personally, but you'd be in the same space, and you'd be like, hey, a Black person, and they would pay you dust because they're too busy trying to be famous or popular with their white friends. He also feels like the kind of Negro that says, I'm not like other Negroes Negro. Am I painting a picture?
This Picasso that is in front of me,
yes.
This Renoir, this Gauguin is like it is
Gauguin.
This Gauguin is just that's just where we are. But hey, listen, I'm going to support
make your
him.
point. I'm not going to support him.
Well, I'm going to support him.
I'm not mad at him.
Yeah, and when I say by support, I'm going to support him in the sense that if this is what you want to do, and this is how you make your money, listen, good for you. That's my support for you.
And so I will say is,
I'm not donating to that.
In the midst of your mediocrity, because that's what it is to me, is mediocrity. I want you, fab, young, gay, trans, and gender non-conforming performers to get out there and do your shit, because there's definitely space for you.
Absolutely.
Taylor Swift may not be your best friend that can get you in front of labels and get you a cute little budget and whatever, but do your thing. Yeah. So the song just kind of annoyed me in way. And as someone, because I posted it, right? My statement was literally, I said, it's a full chop for me. The title and imagery is derivative, and the track sounds like literally every other synth pop song. Plus, his whole vibe gives straight white girl who just discovered Black, gay, and trans culture while not actually knowing any Black, gay, and trans people. To which our friend, former Mr. DC Eagle, says, all that stuff sounds the same to me. It's like I've had the same top for 18 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And then my other friend says, after witnessing the imagery and message of Call Me By Your Name, this comes across as tired and contrived, which is, I agree totally.
What I will say for Todrick in general, and going forward, he might want to go back and look at his own stuff, because to me,
like that Snow White shit
he made, that was everything. Bad. That was like, it was such a twist, and it was such a refresh, and it was new, and it was original. Like,
this
that
shit feels very derivative.
I love that Todrick. That Todrick I love, because I paid attention to what he said and what he did. Now I'm kind of like, it's either pay attention to what you do, or the visuals, or the music, because I can't pay attention to all three. It's like one or the other.
Right. Because this song sounds like one of the songs that any one of the RuPaul's Drag Race girls would do.
And some of them
do some really good
illicit. Miss Alaska,
Working Girl is still the shit.
Working Girl is good. Uptown Fish is good, but Miss Alaska fucks it all the way up. I live for Miss Alaska.
Yes.
There's a couple other little songs that came out that are cute, but those are the ones that I keep on my playlist.
Yeah.
And I even like his collaborations with Rue. I can work with that. So
there is that. So anyway, so how are you, love? It's been a while since we've seen each other in person.
Darling, listen, let me just explain something to you all.
Darling, baby.
A bitch is tired. Okay. So I'm going to share this with you all.
Remember, this camera only goes until 9:30.
I know.
A lot to cover.
I know. I'm going to share this with you all. My ass is out here in these streets, in these DC, Maryland, Virginia area streets, trying to make some money. I have to make
$1 out of 15 cents,
child,
a dime and a nickel.
Not even out of 15 cents. It's more like out of 2 pennies that are rubbed together, and a piece of the third one got broken off when the train ran over it. That's kind of how it is.
I got it.
But I'm out in these streets. I'm doing my shit. I'm trying to do a part-time job, and I'm trying to make some money because I have some bills I need to pay, and I have some trips that are coming up, a whole bunch of shit, and more importantly, with just handle my own shit because I have other things that I want to do, and I'm just trying to be more responsible and literally take care of a very large bill.
Yes.
And I say all that
we
to
need
say,
to have a good old good times rent party.
Child, I wish we could. I wish it was that simple. But I say all that to say I'm making some headway, and I've made some headway with I've made some headway with what I'm doing, and I am. If you see me out in the streets, I am now your neighborhood Lyft driver. I don't do Uber. I'm a Lyft driver.
That's because that's classy.
Classy. Let me show you how classy it is. I am so classy that within the last 2 weeks, I've had one person throw up in the back of my car, and I had one person spill some seafood in the back of my car. That's how classy I am. I am so classy. I am so annoyed at these people. Listen, if you all are driving, riding, taking any sort of car service, be cognizant of the fucking car that you get in. Be cognizant of where you're going. I don't want to have a whole bunch of conversation with you.
Was this person eating seafood in the back of the car, or did it spill out of a container?
Picture it. 12 o'clock last night, I'm picking this woman up from Southern Avenue Metro Station stop. She's already seems a little tipsy. Now, she's built like a brick shit house. Like, she looks great. Like, she's dolled up with this shirt on, these slacks that are tailored to fit her.
She just came from Krusty Krab.
She just came from wherever. I don't know where she came from, but she had like 3 or 4 bags, and they was all on her arms. So, and she was having words with someone at the pickup spot. And I heard her say something like, "Well, I'm
taking all this fucking food, bitch. I don't give a fuck. I will fuck you, bitch. I'm taking all of this crab back home. Fuck you. Fuck you. No, bitch, you can't have none. Bitch, you already owe me money. The fuck."
That's not quite how it went. She was having words. She was telling the guy that she was not a man. She's like, "I am a woman," and I was like,
"So it was a woman."
Yeah, it's a woman. No. This cisgender woman was telling this man that she was a woman, and I'm laughing to myself.
She was about to whoop his ass and don't talk to me any old kind of way because I will fuck you up.
That kind of shit.
Oh, okay, got it.
But
got it.
she was
listen. All you needed to do, you had not painted a full picture.
But I was still trying to get. I'm trying to get there.
Sorry, I'll stop with the commentary.
So so she got that, and so she's. After she had those words, she's stumbling over to the car. Now I'm noticing she's dolled up, full face of makeup,
but fucked up,
eyelashes on, hanging off and everything, hair pulled back, wig line is a little crooked, but that's all right. But she's still, but she has this bag of food. She had all this cologne, perfume sprayed all over. So she got in the car. I was like, "Woo!" Jungle gardenia hit my face. So she sits down and she's like, "Okay, hey, how you doing? Where am I going again?" And I was like, "Girl, I once you put it in the address in, it just tells me where it is. It shows me real quick, but then it just directs me to the address." She's like, "Okay, can you open the window?" I open the window. We're driving around. It's 12:30 at night. She's ruffling with these bags, and she's like, "Can you open the window? That's my song. Turn it up." I turn it up. Louder. Turn it louder. I was like, "It's 12:30 at night now. Like, can we not have this? I don't want to drive through the streets with this loud music and like get pulled over. I don't need this." I get her to her spot. She gets out, and as she gets out, she does one of these numbers to the back seat. I pay attention. I look back. Whatever the fuck she was eating in these bags, this seafood, because she explained to me that she worked at the wharf, I smelled it now. So she's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna give you 5 stars."
Okay, so here's the story, everyone. So for everyone here's the story, right? So she worked at the spot at the wharf, right?
Right.
She either got all dolled up. She works there, so she was all dolled up. However the fuck she dresses there. She got the chef whose dick she suck on the side to make her some extra plates so she could take home to her man.
Her girlfriend.
It was a woman?
Yes, she was taking home to her girlfriend.
I thought you said she was arguing with some dude.
She was, but I'm telling you, as I look at the name in the picture, it was her girlfriend.
Oh, okay. You sure that man wasn't the woman?
It was her. Now she was a studly looking woman, but that was her girlfriend.
You sure the person that she was arguing with was not a man, was not a woman?
She was a woman. Yes. My radar is not off.
No, I get that.
Right.
In the picture, yes.
Right. Yes.
But I'm talking about the dude that she was arguing with.
Oh no, that was a
spot.
straight dude. That was
okay.
a straight dude.
Right. So what? Oh, okay. So now I know what happened. So now I got it. She bought some seafood home for her boo. She got all dolled up because she's the lipstick one and she's the femme one in the relationship, right?
Right.
So she come home, but her stud was getting dick down.
Probably because that's
either getting dick down or that was the stud's good gay friend, and somehow the stud fucked up. So she was like, "Well, bitch, I'm not gonna have nothing." She was ready because she was ready to get her pussy ate. She was ready to get fucked all night long. You know, she was ready to go for it. And then the stud had done something wrong, so then that fucked up the whole relationship. So she got progressively drunker throughout the evening, and then so she took all of her seafood and took it home so she could just sit and eat her Admiral's Feast or whatever the fuck it was, you know, all alone. Her Clams Casino.
All I know is I am over off of Benning Road, cleaning out the back of this fucking car with this.
I hope you charged her.
Before I started cleaning, I had hit Lyft saying, "This is what happened. You need to figure this out." And before I even got started cleaning, money went into my account. I was like, okay, I will give them that because this is the second, like I said, this is the second incident I've had. Mm-hmm. The other one was a little girl. She's probably 4 or 5. She threw up in the back of my car. And I felt so bad because she was throwing up and she went to her mother, like to throw up in her lap, and her mom caught it in her shirt. And I was like, oh, but the problem was she didn't catch all of it. So it kind of ended up on the seat and everything. So I had to still clean that shit out too. I was a little pissed off about that, but they charged her too. So I'm doing car Ubering and I'm fucking cleaning cars and shit. And I'm doing this is what the fuck I'm doing all for 27 cents. So my week has been great. And I'm sorry. And then I have to go to the day job during the day to laugh and joke with the peoples about the shit that they didn't do because they're graduating this week and they want to make sure they're graduating. Well, bitch, we told you what you needed to do 9 months ago. We remind you about it a month ago. And now during this week, you want me to review your shit? Girl, sit down. I don't have time for you right now. Not right now.
My day starts at 8 o'clock and ends at 5. Whatever I get to between 8 and 5, I get to. If I don't get to it, I'm not going to push myself.
Listen, that's just where we are. So it's been an interesting week so far, and it's coming to an end, and I'm looking forward to it. So that's what I will say. Your day was good, but how's your week been so far?
My week was a weeky week. You know, it was
okay.
Everything was cool. We missed you at Anani's birthday party on Saturday. I guess you were out, you know, with the seafood and the vomits and
stuff. No, on that day in particular, my cousin's daughter graduated and it was her dinner. And it was a really nice place in Baltimore. We probably should go. It's at the Sagamore Hotel, the Wreck Chop House. Beautiful place. It was really good. It's not Del Frisco's, let me be clear, but it was really good. Mm-hmm. Really, really good. Like I had this dish that I actually entertained being a vegetarian for a hot minute. It was this ravioli. I mean, not ravioli. This pasta dish that was like made out of spinach and had like red peppers and yellow peppers. It was really, really good.
Mhm.
I was like, this I could
And you
work.
had some meat on the side.
No, I didn't have that. Not with that dish. Now, I had my steak when it came later, but I'm just saying
okay.
it was this part of the first course, second course, and it was a 4-course meal.
Mhm.
So it was really good. Sagamore Pendry, yes.
Of course, Bougie Girl would know.
Well,
exactly
I mean,
where Sagamore.
That's what. But it was nice. I enjoyed it, and the decor was amazing.
Right.
So I like that. So yeah, but that's why I didn't come, because by the time I got finished on the invitation, it said 11. So I was like, by the time I get there to be like 10:30, I was like, Peace Before, he probably left. And when I talked to him, he was like, bitch, I didn't come home till like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was like,
girls were still arriving when I was leaving, because my it's one thing to have a party at your own house. It's another to go to somebody else's, and then you got to drive back home from BWI, essentially, because that's where this person lived. It was a cute little spot. It was a residential neighborhood. It was really nice. And all of the usual suspects were there.
I saw, and I was like kind of pissed off. I was like, bitch, I could have, but okay.
And there was this person isn't going to be watching. Anani might be watching, but one of Anani's friends was there.
No battery.
And the battery is low. So
that's all right. That's okay. We're gonna save it for a second.
Right.
Go ahead.
She was sitting at the table. So this was this was the weed table, right?
Okay.
And I don't smoke weed, but this was where all of the people that I knew were.
Okay.
So we're sitting there, and he's like, "Oh,
peer
edibles
pressure.
Don't do nothing."
Peer pressure. That's what it was.
No.
It was peer pressure.
No. He took an edible, and it was a wrap for him.
Who, Anani?
No.
Oh,
Anani's friend.
Oh, the person. Okay, gotcha.
And as he got higher, me and Deviant was like, "It's kind of cute." It was like the higher he got, the cuter he got. Because at first, neither one of us was featuring him.
Okay.
But then, as the night wore on, it was like, nah. And maybe because we was getting a little drunk and high too. So it was like, I mean, I do him, in the park or, in the bathroom at the club. I mean, I wouldn't go out with him. I wouldn't date him.
Like, does he look like he look kind of cute through this little hole right here? So maybe I have to.
Exactly. So, so that was fun. But Anani's party was lots of fun. So I gave him a gag gift.
So he had this whole conversation with me about how he absolutely, and I'm sure he said this to you,
Mm-hmm.
he absolutely appreciated. He posted, I think, on Facebook as well.
Yes. Louboutin saw him. Yeah, he was there.
And Louboutin, listen, I heard Louboutin. I heard you was getting ready to get cussed out, but you made his day. So yeah,
no, it was not going to be no liability situation. But
Lord have mercy,
because we wasn't even sure if he was even bi, and I'm not going. And I would never.
I'm a gay of a certain age, and I refuse to go down that road until I know what's. I'm not
right. And then he was high too, so I don't want him being like in the tub talking about Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura in the tub rocking back and forth taking a shower. So I didn't want it to be like that. But other than that, it was a cute, generally sort of quiet weekend.
Okay.
Facebook is reminding me of all of the Pride shenanigans over the past 5 years that we've gone to. The most recent one being that debacle at Pride.
Capitol Pride.
Yeah, bitch.
And
it started off.
It was
so
going to be
fun.
Everything. And then
the motherfuckers is like, they got a gun. And I was like, I don't hear no shots. All I see is motherfuckers running. So I pulled up Jack because he don't weigh but like 5 pounds. So I scooped him up and he was like, "Girl, we're about to get our ass behind this truck." And then they did that like 2 or 3 more times. And then it was like, it's over for me. But my car was way on the other side of the world.
Baby, the way Cortez took off and was going like listen, Cortez, I don't even know if you're watching, but baby, the way Cortez took off and was going. I said, get your ass back over here. You're in a wide open field. Get your ass back over
here. You were making yourself a target.
It was a wide open field. And he was like, get your ass over here.
Yeah, you gotta remember in 2019, we were still in the middle of Trump foolishness. And it was not out of the realm of possibility that, some anti-gay whatever could have been sniping people from the windows. Yeah. I mean, there's hotels and stuff along the parade route. And, you know, I think it had just been maybe, what was that? I mean, that was in 2016, I think, in Vegas, where the dude rented a hotel room.
Oh yeah,
even though that was at a
was that 16
country,
or 18 or something? But whatever it was,
16.
Okay.
But still, the point is that, or maybe it was 17, whatever it was. But you know, so it was all.
It was a lot.
And then we went to Aleros.
That's Aleros, yeah.
And that bitch called me a faggot when we was on the street, and I almost whooped her ass. So
wait, were we walking out with that happen? Because you listen, because I kind of blacks out sometimes, but I'm sorry.
We were waiting to sit down.
Yeah,
outside of Aleros. This bitch is with her girlfriends, and she comes up and puts her hand up in front of me and Azamek, because Azamek has on like shorts and everything. And it was like, can I take your picture? And I was like, for what? I mean, the fuck? Are you paparazzi? I mean, yes, you can take my picture if it's going to be in like Metro Weekly or People Magazine or the Daily Tatler. But bitch, what the fuck are you
taking my
who don't know me
want
to take a picture of me like I'm some fucking zoo animal in the zoo? So I was like, no, you can't take my picture. And then she goes to, no, first she says, can I touch your jewelry? And I was like, no, you cannot touch my, his person.
Right.
Because normally I don't really I'm not one of them people that was like, don't touch my slave. It wasn't even like that, but it was just the presumption that, it's pride. So I'm going to be out and take pictures of the weirdos.
Right.
And then it'll be on your Instagram. It's like, oh, look, I was out with the weirdos and the freaks. So I don't know. I was feeling some type of way after the shooting, the not shooting and all of that. And then when I wouldn't let her take my picture, she called me a faggot. I was like, bitch. It was literally like, bitch.
I'm trying to remember.
Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? And like everybody sitting in the outdoor patio at Alero was like, skirt, we about to get a show.
I must have been in the bathroom because I swear to God, because I'd have been like,
right.
Where was I at? Like, I don't know
where you were. I don't know where you were. You may not have walked up because remember, we sort of all just were walking different ways because we did end up walking the route at some point. So we walked. No, did we walk the whole route or we got from P Street Beach all the way over to Aleros, and I know we walked.
Okay, I vaguely remember this, but I don't remember where I went. But anyway, she got what she fucking deserved,
and she got her girl held her back, and Azamek and somebody else held me back. And so, like, part of me was like, "Girl, am I about to fight this bitch on the street?"
Let's be clear, I wouldn't have held you back, bitch. I'd have been like,
"Get her."
But you go high, I go low.
Get her, Jade. So I mean, and I'm not walking pride this year. I'm just not. My spirit is just not in it. I feel like I'm gonna be ready for it next year, but just right now, I'm just not like.
Well, I won't.
You'll be working,
but
I'm just like.
And that's still the 19th. What is that?
No, there's a parade. The Capitol Pride Parade is this week.
Oh, it's this week.
This weekend. So it's like, yeah,
I won't be.
It's not happening. So that's a negative on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I feel like we want to get through some of these stories rather quickly because we've got a lot to talk about with Legendary because it was a double episode.
It was. And Pose was a double episode. So, all right. Hello, lovelies. Hello, Boozy Girl, Louboutin. I see Lynx. I see Canilli. I saw Midas. Hey, Boo Boo. I saw Freaky McNasty. Hey, Maximus. I just want to say hi before we get into this stuff. So jump on in with the conversations and questions when y'all have them. So just jump on in. So
let's start. So the top of my schedule, I saw you copied it into. I finally got him to use the OneNote, y'all. So I'm excited. So that just makes it so much easy. So I would just want to quickly dash over this, but it's not something to dash over.
Right.
The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that half of the state of Oklahoma. Sorry,
you're echoing. Yeah.
I can probably turn this off for a moment.
Or just turn it away. But go ahead.
There was a Supreme Court ruling that said that half of Oklahoma is Native American land. So, we're going to see what that actually means in a minute upcoming. I mean, it's not like it changes the borders of the whatever, but there are contractual relationships that the U.S. government has with the Native American governments that allows self-governing. So there's some things about Native American people who have been convicted.
Don't do it, bougie girls. don't do it.
There are some things about Native Americans who have been convicted of federal crimes because per the statute or whatever, only the Native American criminal courts can try Native Americans for federal crimes. I don't think that applies to like, so you can't just like shoot somebody and be like, oh, I'm a Native American, so I can get away with it.
Right.
It's not that.
Right.
You don't try it. But there is some, whatever. So there's that. I also personally want to just talk for the briefest of seconds about bonnets and say that it's none of my affair. That's all I really want to say about it. Girl, if you want to wear a bonnet, I don't give a fuck what Monique have to say. I mean, I like Monique for the most part, but sometimes she's putting her foot in it. Girl, just mind your own fucking business. So if you want to wear a fucking bonnet out in the street, I don't give a fuck if you're in the restaurant with me, because you wearing a bonnet don't have nothing to do with the quality of my steak at the restaurant. Now, if they got policies that say you have to look and dress a certain way, that's their business. But it's not my business to comment on the choice that any woman, especially any Black woman, does for their hair or anything about their body.
The only thing I will say is I think I saw where I thought she was going to go with this or trying to go with it, but at the same time, at not at the same time, but at the end of it, if that's a personal choice, that's a personal choice. Like Monique, your choice was to stop coloring your hair. Your choice was to stop adding hair. Your choice was, you know what I mean? Like so that's your choice. Like,
right. And even where she was trying to go, it was like, don't you want to look nice when you are out in public? I was like, but that's respectability politics. I mean, the whole standard. Yeah. 50 years ago, yes, people used to dress up to get on the fucking airplane. Yeah. But people don't do that no more. Yeah. People dress for comfort.
Absolutely.
On the fucking plane. And they don't want to fuck their hair up for wherever their destination is. So they wear a bonnet or whatever. And then they take the shit down when they get there. I don't give a fuck. Again, you wearing a bonnet don't have nothing to do with me getting to Cancun, as long as you mind your own business. So there's that.
Speaking of that, I'll be there.
Yes. When are you leaving?
I leave on the 20th.
Are we still doing the spot on Tuesday?
Tuesday, yes.
Okay.
I just have to. I need to carve some time out.
You need to carve some time, and you need to make a reservation.
Stuff. No, that's done. Oh, okay. That's done. I just need to
tell people what time.
I know.
All right. So next up, Dominique Jackson and India Moore to appear on $100,000 Pyramid.
That was a great show. If nobody ever caught it, it was cute and fun.
Their episode. Oh, it airs on June 16th. So what's today?
Today is the
9th and 7th to 16th. So it airs a week from today.
Yes.
So we should be able to watch it after the show, because we'll tape it and then we'll talk about it the following week.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So Drag Race alum Widow Von Du arrested on domestic violence.
Baby, Miss Widow Von Du. Okay, so she was a contestant of season 12 of RuPaul's Drag Race. She was arrested on a domestic violence charge.
Yeah, 6 minutes.
She's in Kansas City, Missouri. The police in Kansas City, Missouri received a report from a man, apparently a current or former boyfriend of Von Du, and according to TMZ, was the first outlet to cover the story. They said the man said Von Du, whose legal name is Ray Fry, came home early Friday night and was upset to find him sleeping there, even though he had told her he was going to do so. He told police Von Du was intoxicated and punched him in the face several times, choked him, dragged him across the floor, and pushed him into a bed frame. He was hospitalized and received 14 stitches. So police found probable cause to arrest Von Du, and they did so. And they said that she's going to be charged with 1 count of first-degree domestic assault, and 3 counts of third-degree domestic assault, according to court records obtained by People. She was arrested last Tuesday after posting bond and is due to appear in court next Monday, I believe it is. In the meantime, she's on house arrest, cannot contact the alleged victim or witnesses, and must not possess or be in the presence of firearms. Now, there was a video, which is how it actually made the interwebs, showing her claiming that it was self-defense. She said, "You're taking me down because I was assaulted in my own apartment, as someone else would not understand that his privilege does not extend to my apartment." Von Du added, "As a Black man in this city, I'm being arrested for defending myself in my apartment. And just because his ass got beat up because he would not leave when I asked him 5 times, I'm being arrested instead of someone being arrested for violating me." We shall see how this turns out and what comes.
Yeah, it feels like
it's probably there's some more to it.
Ass. You could have just called the police and been like, "There's someone at my house." But I also understand
there's some more
that you don't. It's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that whenever you think about this, right? And this happened in 2021. So you think about Dorian Corey. And allegedly the person, we do know the identity of that person that was in that trunk. We know who that person is now. And that person had some sort of relationship with her and was known to be like an alcoholic, a drug addict, and he had abused he liked trans women too. So, he had abused others. Imagine Dorian Corey calling the police. Sade took her ass to jail.
She'd have been arrested before she got down
so
911.
So whenever you think of like, well, why would she do that? Why would she just call the police? Girl, we don't live in the same
our world is different.
Our world is different. And even if you were alive back then, even if you were a man presenting as a man, it would have been different for you than a person who was a transgender person. So anyway. All right. So the top candidate turns down a UNC job and cites the mistreatment of Nicole Hannah-Jones.
Yeah, we talked about this part.
We didn't talk about this before.
We
talked about Nicole Hannah-Jones.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what this story is about. Yeah, yes. I'm sorry.
And so there was another woman who was who was this woman? Anyway, this woman who was going to receive some prestigious position at the school turned it down and cited this whole blah blah blah. And this woman is black too, so she was doing it in solidarity with another black woman.
Her name is Lisa Jones.
Lisa Jones.
Yeah, she's a world-renowned.
Because I was like, okay, Hannah Jones and Lisa Jones.
Yeah, she's
not related.
Yeah, she's a world-renowned chemist who withdrew her candidacy for the job at UNC, and they had been courting her to come to the UNC for quite some time.
Right.
Quite some time.
Because, I mean, these schools are about prestige and they're about money. And when you're in chemistry, I mean, the money isn't, it's not like an athletic department. You have to get world-renowned people because world-renowned people bring world-renowned dollars and grants and stuff. And so she was in the driver's seat.
Yes, she was. Yes, she is, I should say. And she teaches currently at University of Maryland. Right. And so she said she about to get
whatever she wanted.
She said she couldn't look past UNC's treatment of Hannah Jones when considering whether to join its faculty. So she stood
because if they
in
throw
solidarity.
Her under
damn well they're going to throw her
they're going to throw her under the bus too, because the whole shit with Hannah Jones is that she did this thing called a 1619 project.
Yep.
And some white people don't want to hear about any version of American history
because they say that they don't report correctly. How was it? What are the words? They didn't report correctly the white people that were supporting no slavery. I think that's how they said it, or supporting the fact that slavery was inappropriate.
Oh, and I was like, whatever.
What does that have to like?
That even if that had been adequately reported, was still but in something. So anyway, so Clarence Williams III, who you will remember from
this crowd, you're going to remember him as playing Prince's dad in Purple Rain.
Right.
Let's be clear.
Right.
He's a great actor, but you probably remember him as playing Prince's dad, and he played crazy very well.
He really did.
Very well.
So he passed away. He was 81 years old. So
and he was also in Half-Baked.
Issa Rae will play Spider-Woman in the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So it'll be an animated thing. So she'll be voicing the character of Spider-Woman. So that's good. Jimmy Choo and Billy Porter are releasing a shoe collection that goes up to a woman size 15. So good for them.
Which is a man size 13, just for you all that want to know. I'm just saying. Right.
Or 14 if you really want to squeeze your hoof.
This is true. They said to celebrate the release, Jimmy Choo is donating $100,000 to the Trevor Project, a cause close to Porter that hopes to end LGBTQ suicide within 24/7 phone, text, and chat crisis counseling. So I think the idea of this is great, and I want to see what these shoes look like. That's what I want to see.
Right, because if it's an ugly shoe, then kind of defeats the purpose.
It's probably.
I mean, rich bitches will buy them because they whatever. But
yeah.
All right, so Legendary episode. There were 2 episodes. So spoiler alert for everything else that comes for the remainder of the show.
Absolutely, because we get ready to go in on it.
We're about to go in. So first of all, Honey is back, and as we'll find out, that is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
But episode 7 was the Over Ball.
Yeah.
and the special guest was Adam Lambert. And the overall theme of the first part of the Overball was judging on how well the Vogue element was incorporated and the quality of performance. So Tisci, who was a superior house, assigned the elements. So Balenciaga got catwalk, Tisci got spin dip, Arici got floor performance, Garçon got duck walk, and Mugler got hands. So let's start with Balenciaga and the catwalk.
So let's be clear.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you,
you are our resident Vogue expert, so I will just say what I liked and didn't like, but we will go to you. You again are our resident Scott Hamill.
So catwalk is what you pretty much see the when they're voguing. And it's always a lot of fast footwork and it's going like real fast. It's not necessarily it's not a runway walk. It's just the way you kind of go down the runway. Your feet are moving back and forth. You're going down. That's a catwalk. And so while, yes, you are moving down the runway, it's just a little different. So, and there's my ballroom. Come on, Mr. Revlon, Mr. REV, Desmond, who just came in. But yeah, for me, Balenciaga,
I like the cats. I like the costumes. What they did was a combination of waltz and Vogue, and I like the costumes. It gave Madonna Marie Antoinette Vogue performance at the MTV Music Awards.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. These two episodes were a lot for me because there were so many things that pissed me off that I tuned out. And that's the first thing. The scoring of this is just turning me off.
Because it feels like these scores are arbitrary as fuck.
Yeah, like they're not consistent. Like
they're not consistent. And the guest judge, it's like that when you have Dominique Jackson on, of course, because I mean she's a ballroom icon. I'm not qualified to judge that, but we know she is at least somewhat involved in the scene. Adam Lambert isn't. So it felt like both Adam Lambert and Demi Lovato, who I personally do not care for. I do not care for Demi Lovato.
First of all, I think she's cute. I thought she was cute as hell, but
I just feel like everything about her is a stunt.
Yeah, and
I've even heard people say that her latest thing where she's gender non-conforming now is just a stunt. Because she just goes through these phases and she's like a stunt. But like Adam Lambert knows nothing. I mean, listen,
as far as we know, yeah.
But he didn't seem to know anything about the ballroom. So girl, just only judge it on that. But it felt like he kept looking over to
they
Naomi
do that all the time.
And the other judges
Normani
to be
did
like,
the same thing.
What you're giving. No, girl, you just give your own fucking opinion on whether you liked it or not. I mean, you said last week that Megan gives the most consistent because she's like, bitch, I don't know nothing about Vogue.
Yeah,
she's like, I like the performance or I didn't, or whatever. So anyway, so they got shit. I don't know.
They
got a 40.
They got 40.
And then next up we had Tisci, who had spin and dips. They did a ballet plus Vogue. I said it was cute, but not blown away like I usually am.
That's what I was gonna say. This was not their best performance either, but it was cute. But the thing with spins and dips are kind of like one is a precursor to the other. Because there's a couple different types of dips. There's can-side dips, and then there's a whole different thing. And like, what were y'all asking for? Because many of the people in this episode didn't, and Desmond and I were talking about this, they didn't give what the fucking category was calling for. Like it didn't work for me. So these spins and dips that you were given, where was the spins? Where was the dips?
I was thinking that too.
I didn't see like what? Where are they?
I was expecting like. I don't feel like in this first episode, none of the elements were like
none of them
featured.
None of them.
Like, if you were going to give me some dips, I wanted to see some dips. And
part of the fact that if you're giving dips means that your ass should probably not come up for more than 3 or 4 times during your whole performance. But if you're giving dips on top of dips on top of dips, but you need to be dipping that way, then this way, then change your leg and go that way. Like, bitch, you need to be all over the floor.
For me, again, this is as an outsider, I don't want to see you do a. To me, that's not a dip. That is a. It's not. I know it's not an actual death drop, but it's like, girl, I don't need to hear your back hitting the ground. I need to hear you bam, bam, and just like if you every time you do it, you're like, bam. It's like, girl, you feel like an amateur.
Yeah.
To me.
There's this thing, and we used to always talk about this. And Desmond helped me out.
And now you see these young 20-year-olds doing that. I was like, girl, your back is gonna be fucked up when you were 35 years old.
This is why my knees are where the fuck they are. So me and Desmond could talk about that. But anyway, we always talked about these kids slamming their back down on the ground because they were so. It was so. They had so much energy and you're so charged. But listen, you're not hurting yourself. You're not slamming yourself down on the ground. You are, but you're not. But it's like, it's just the intensity. It's like,
like sometimes you could hear it.
You shouldn't.
I know. And I'm saying when you do, I'm like, girl, you shouldn't. You are wearing your back.
Yeah, you are. You shouldn't. But
because once I started watching it, I was like, oh, okay, they're kind of putting their hand down. So their hand, it's like a spring, it's like absorbing
you're going
most
down.
Of the pressure.
I can't speak with nobody. When we did this, and I'm speaking to Desmond, these hands were down because bitch, I was not, but my knee was holding a lot of the weight as well. Right. So that's why you didn't do all the slamming. And plus it was concrete and shit. Right. Bitch, the YMCA floor, bitch, that shit was concrete. That shit was hard.
Right.
Desmond know about that. You remember that concrete floor in at the YMCA on Girard Avenue, Desmond? You remember about that?
So Orichi did floor performance. They did a chessboard.
There was no floor performance.
I said very low energy, gave Batman, Prince Batman energy. Costumes were kind of basic. I like Megan's advice. Every performance might be your last. And did they get the lower scores? Yeah, they got the lowest score. They got a 36.
They did. Yeah. It was
And what exactly is a floor performance?
So floor performance is
hold on. Hold on, I'll pass the mic to you. Ooh, she might be dead.
Is she dead too?
There we go.
Okay.
Keep going.
Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
So what exactly is a floor performance?
Thank you. So floor performance is where you are on the floor and you are doing the absolute most. Meaning, my floor performance consisted of me being on the floor, and if it was Vogue Femme, you are on that floor giving the, and I'm using these as ballroom terms, so please don't think that I'm using these in any other term other than within the ballroom. You are giving the cuntiest cunt that you can give on this floor. So I'm talking about all these overly feminine, stereotypically feminine movements and hand movements, and you're rubbing, touching your hoo-ha, your nanas, like you're doing all this stuff on the floor. But
is it a floor performance because you're doing it on the floor?
You're on the floor.
So you can give the same performance standing up.
You can give the same performance standing up.
It's literally because you're doing it on the floor.
That's exactly what it is. And most people, when you're going into a floor performance, you fall into a dip and you start that roll. You start doing all this stuff on the floor on your knees. You're doing every single
gave
thing.
None of that.
That's what none of it.
They gave none of that.
Yeah.
Well, then based on that, then they got lucky. They got a 36.
Yeah,
because those scores that was
it
too
was
high.
None of that.
So Garcon had duck walk, and they did a Victorian burlesque. Definitely saw the duck walk, but costumes were okay. Tonka finally showed up a little bit.
Tonka was is this the episode she was a fucking mess? This is where she had the cat suit on? Like that full body suit where she was rolling around on the floor?
No, I think that was episode 8.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, it was all right. She was all right.
But they got a 49 for that shit.
That is the problem. That was a problem for me. I remember that. That was a problem for me. Fucking problem for me. It was.
And just, I don't want to keep harping on Tonka because I'm sure Tonka's a lovely person, but he just seems out of his element for this show. And if he's legendary for whatever the fuck he's given, they have yet to feature him in anything. Well, he did get chopped from walking body one time, but other than that,
which is the category that he emotes in, and it's not about him.
Okay, but then I'm sure there are a lot more garçons than just the 5 of them.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'd have been like, well, baby, you can't be in this because you're not versatile
That's one,
to
and that's but
be
we
on this fucking show.
We have that conversation all the time about the versatility of the house mothers and fathers as well as the kids in the house. That house mother, house father should be able to do every single thing that their kids would be doing.
Right.
That's my role.
And I mean, if it's $100,000 at stake, you'd be like, listen, girl, I love you.
But you can't do that.
But you are good at this one thing.
You can't do that.
We need people that's versatile enough to do a bunch of different things, and she just wasn't giving it.
Listen, for me, at my time as house father, and when I was I still am a house father because the house is not open. But listen, everything my kids do, I could do. So Butch Clean Up and Pumps, Executive Realness, Old Way, New Way, Vogue Femme, like bitch Runway, bitch, and and the funny thing is, Desmond and I, which is another reason I was having this conversation with you about, we had this conversation about using people and how they look. So whether Tonka being a large man and someone that is very tiny, Desmond and I are not the same size. Right. But when Desmond and I walk on the runway together, bitch, we are in sync.
I have any of these performances where they're supposed to be like blah, blah, blah as a house. Yeah. They have never been coordinated. I'd have been like, bitch, we're going to stay here for like 5 hours until we get 5, 6, 7, 8. I step, even if you're not going to, like, I step and then you step and then you step and then we do it together. Right. So then it becomes like a 3-part synchronicity and then you're in step. But no, girl, if I move to the left, then you need to move to the left either at the same time, or it needs to be if you're either moving exactly in rhythm or you establish a pattern.
Yeah.
So if the pattern is like I step to the left and then you step to the left and then you step to the left, then when I step to the right, then you step to the right, and then there's a beat, and then you step to the right, and there's a beat, then you step to the right. That's still, to me,
some sort of synchronicity.
Mm-hmm. But you literally just can't be like, you're giving a hard pump where you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, and this other person's giving us off 1, 2,
maybe a 3.
Right. I'm like, bitch, no, it's bat.
And your attitude as well.
Right.
That is the biggest thing. Attitude. But anyway.
Right. Anyway, so I feel like what we're going to do is we're going to take a break so that I can change the battery on the camera.
Cool. So wait. Hold.
No. We're going to finish up with Legendary, but then we're going to, because we got a lot to talk about with Pose.
All right. So yeah.
Mugler had hands. So theirs was Etiquette. It was, to me, best coordinated performance of the night. Best incorporation of the elements, definitely shades of Vivienne Westwood, and I agree with Jamila, and they got 10s across the board.
I was okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it wasn't. Maybe other ballroom people might not have seen it, but as far as the performances we've seen,
I was okay with it. I don't know about all 10s, but I was okay with it. This performance was okay for me.
Right.
It was okay.
So
for me.
Then they did hand performance, so you could score up to an extra 10 points. And
the key thing with hand performance is, listen, your hands need to constantly be moving and your hands need to keep hitting the beats. So when you start, one of the things we talk about, some of the dolls have been in the ballroom scene for a minute. This generation of ballroom kids are watching YouTube and they're learning how to vogue and not catching the beats. There's a category that's always called, meaning that if you the beats to doom da da, you remember George Cranston's doom da doom 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 doom. You should be able to hit every beat. Doom 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 blah boom 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 boom.
Right. I mean, I thought that was the whole point.
Right. But when they're doing,
it's like
you're playing exactly like you're playing the beats and the rhythm.
Right.
But you are doing and right, you're telling a story with your hands. But these kids are doing doom da da doom 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 blah doom 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom.
No,
but you have all these beats that you've missed.
Right.
Like, where's the rest of it? And the thing is, if you can vogue to a song, you can vogue to any beat. Bitch, I can vogue to Sesame Street. Bitch, I can vogue to the theme song to Magnum.
Come on. Can you tell me how to get?
I need the beat. The ding, ding, ding. I need the beat. Ding. Anyway, so yeah, but they need to be moving and telling a story all the time.
A, B, C, D. No, remember when Patti LaBelle sang the alphabet?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she did. That was cute though. But I can check with that. I can vote with that.
So when they did the hand performance, that was the one where they were like in the colored backgrounds, right?
They were in the boxes. In the boxes.
Yeah.
And
so ultimately, Balenciaga got the 10 for that. So that pushed them to a 50. So that put them at the top because they were out of 5 houses, they had the third lowest score because it was 36.
You're right, eccentric.
For Orici. Actually, they had the second lowest score because 30.
Orici, yeah, because they were.
Orici had the lowest score, 36. Balenciaga actually had 40. And then with that extra 10 points,
they went
that
up.
catapulted them to the top.
Yep. That was where Arturo, that Mugler, that was, you talking about, wait, you said Balenciaga. Sorry. I'm confusing names. I was thinking of Arturo.
I can't remember who it was. I just was like, okay, so now they're at the top. So it was tied for top 2. And then Mugler won with Adam giving the tie vote. Now, I agree that Mugler should have won that based on the overall performance of the night.
The fact that Tishi was in the bottom upset me.
Gagged the shit out of me. I was like, how
It upset
the
me.
fuck
And
is Tishi
yeah.
in the bottom? And, their whole bullshit about because Jamila was like, I'm basing this off of. So here's my thing.
Do what's based on what we're doing tonight. Don't do anything else. The voting I'm talking about.
Right. So in that case, they probably should have gone home because they did get they only got a 42.
You talking about Tishi? But the scoring for that was a problem for me. It was a problem for me.
Right.
That's why.
And so it was Tishi versus Orici. Now, Father Orici did what needed to be done.
And in that battle, yes. I am not even.
And if we're going to say, and if you had just said, if they just said, because first of all, Jamila was like, I'm giving you. I think it was her that said, I'm basing this off of your performance this whole season. I was like, well, then I don't even know why.
Why are you doing that?
Still there because it's
stay about
Tishi.
Because if that was the case, Tishi's ass would have been there, or Richie would have been gone. But that battle, that right then and there, Father
Orici, he did what needed to be done. And so if the voting had been consistent and the scores had been assigned consistently, maybe Tichi still would have been in the bottom, but then no one could have said whatever, because then the votes would have been fair.
Yeah.
But some of the other votes was like bullshit.
Yeah.
They was giving. I was like, what? They rarely give a vote. Rarely do they give a score less than 7, even if the performance sucks.
I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to say I feel like it's rigged, but I feel like
I don't know that it's rigged. I just feel like,
listen,
I remember when I went to the one and only ball that I went to, and I was like, girl, they only giving out 10s of chops. So I was like, this feels like foolishness.
That's what I know.
And then I saw guns and all this kind of. I was like, yeah,
come on, face to face, hands in the chair, eccentric. What you know? Let me tell you. We need to have a conversation, eccentric. Okay.
So then when they got sent home, the one who vogued for, who battled for Tichi, whose name I can't remember, had very specific feelings about being sent home.
Simone was her
Simone. And I agree with what she said. And what you didn't see, I saw an extended cut. She read all of them for filth.
So, yes, she did. However,
mm-hmm.
in this moment, on that stage, this HBO Max and this being your job, I'm going to say,
mm-hmm.
pull that back.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't feel that way, and not even not to say that you can't have a conversation. Pull that back, because baby, the world is watching you right now. And right. I'm not saying that,
Well, you look at old boy from last season. If he had cut up like that, he wouldn't be a choreographer on this second season, because they lost.
That's my whole point.
What's his name? I follow him on TikTok. But like, if he had cut up,
you talking about Father Balmain?
Yeah,
Father Balmain's won.
Did they?
The Balmains won.
Oh, okay, whatever. But let's say they had won or whatever. I'm sure others of them are involved in the background or whatever. So yeah, so that just seemed messy.
But there's other people from the other scene. For other houses that are in the background.
So here's what we're going to do. We are going to go dark, because what I need to do, we have to. I'm gonna have to create an extended interlude scene that lasts for about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. So,
but I don't have that.
Just sit tight.
the camera's going to go off, but we're still going to be
here.
here. So just give it a moment while we switch over to camera, so we don't have to worry about going out, because this is going to go past 9:30.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone just hang tight. There's going to be dead air, which we don't normally like.
No, it's not gonna be dead air, because I'm a crunch in your ear.
Right. All right. So
I'm a crunch in
but
your
no,
ear.
when I remove the camera, I don't know if
The
you
microphone
still hear the sound.
the microphone will still be on.
Okay. All right. So we'll be back in a moment.
Crunch in your ear.
All right. And we're back.
Yeah, we could have ran a beam footage too. I just thought about that.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be long enough.
Yeah, I think it would have worked, and
I just wasn't sure. So, but that's what I'm saying. I want to do is create like a mid credits thing that will literally run for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll be right. It's like we'll be right back. We'll return to these extras for our sponsors. Links. So your volunteer links as a sponsor. Is that what I'm understanding? Is that what I'm understanding?
Right. You want to come and he could be pool boy.
Yeah, would you like to? Yeah, you can be pool boy. He could be the BGKH pit crew member.
Yes.
I mean,
pit crew.
Right. Come on, pit crew. Listen, this is what you're working out for. Come
on, he keeps saying, "Can I be on the show?" Okay, girl, we got a spot for you now.
We will go ahead. We will get you a couple thongs and jocks, and we can get you. Listen, we can get you all the way together.
Right, we got you.
Onesies. What you want?
Right. So, all right, we're back, and now we go to episode 8. It was Ice House, and so the theme was dips and poses. So now we're down to Balenciaga, Orici, Garçon, and Mugler. The guest star was Demi Lovato, and again, I don't really care for Demi Lovato for personal reasons. I'm sure they are a lovely person, but they just feel very stunt queeny to me. They did that whole thing about they tried to put some little local ice cream shop in somewhere in California, in LA, on blast because they have an eating disorder, and they said, they felt their eating disorder was triggered because they had fat-free and some other choices on the menu, and she felt like she needed to put them on blast because that triggered her eating thing. It's like, girl, that's your. I mean, and I don't mean girl like she's they are a woman, but like, girl, that's your personal business. I mean, so the whole world is. I mean, there's not supposed to be a whole diet industry or have fat-free choices, bitch. Sometimes I get fat-free. I never get fat-free ice cream. Let's just be clear. Never. Never. Like, I just don't understand like the whole point of fat-free ice cream. It just feels. Now I will get like the fat-free yogurt because yogurt is one thing, but if we're having actual ice cream, bitch, I'm getting ice cream.
Yeah, I'm gonna have ice cream.
But so like the whole world is supposed to stop because you have an eating disorder? No, girl, fine, fuck that. Anyway, so So yeah, Link. So you gonna be our new our new pit crew,
Yeah, like what's up?
the BGKH pit crew?
Right. What's up? Listen, hit us up. What's up? What's up?
I'll text. We'll call him after the show.
What's up? Yeah, what's up? We'll have a conversation. Listen, I'm driving. I might be out that way. What's up?
Right. So anyway, so Demi, they look good though. I thought they looked good.
She was clean.
I like the outfit that
she was clean in that all white.
I'm sorry, I keep saying she because I'm getting used to
I'm getting used to saying I will be getting used to saying they, but I also think that when I'm referencing the community, I sometimes say she or her. I call everybody she or her.
I do, but
I know that people it offends.
Like we have some good friends who are trans men,
right?
And I try to be.
I try not to do that.
Not to say, "Hey, girl," in the same. Even though these trans men identify as gay men,
right?
I still try not to say, "Hey, girl," to them,
because
I'm trying to be respectful. And I mean, you spent your whole life maybe trying to get away from a female identity. So,
oh my gosh, I mean, I remember this moment. I was so embarrassed when I kept looking at the card and I kept saying, "Who is this?"
Right. When we were in Atlanta, and I was like, "Who the fuck is?"
I was like, "Who is
blah blah
this?"
blah?
And I was like,
and then they grabbed the card, and I was like,
"Oh." Damn.
I literally thought that they had given us the wrong card because we had never known that this particular trans man, who was a good friend of ours, we never knew what their birth name was, and never called them that since.
Yeah.
And to his credit, he did get like fucked up about it.
He was.
I mean, because it's the name that's on the fucking card. I mean, the fuck.
And listen, he was like, "Listen, I just never changed it." But that's how they are. They're just so laid back.
Yeah, he's just not the kind of person.
I just never changed
Whereas we know some people that've been like, "How dare you?"
Like,
girl, how the fuck am I supposed to know?
So I appreciate them.
But anyway, so they looked good.
Yeah,
and they didn't do a terrible job judging. But I thought it was still the same.
Girl,
you're not a part of the ballroom scene, but you are a performer. So just judge on the fucking performance and whether it moved you or not. That's all. I mean, 90% of the people watching this ain't in the ballroom community. So just say the performance was cute. I live for the performance. Whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, really, B.
Hey, girl. Thank you for my belated birthday shout out, daughter.
So, okay. So again, the theme was Ice House, dips and poses. So Balenciaga did the evil queen. I said they had cute costumes.
Hey, boo. Hey, brother.
And by cute costumes, I meant, beautiful gowns. Lovely gowns.
Beautiful gowns.
And that was when Honey said what she said about the costumes. And when she said that, I was like, well, that's a fuck you to all of the bitches backstage that dressed you.
This is where I will say Law Roach got it right.
He got it 100% right.
He got it 100% right. And Shannon was trying to get her to just stretch the motherfucker.
I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying
we understand. Listen,
no, she was like, I'm not giving you the mic.
She was like, between you talk about your shut your motherfucker. Right. That's how she was going on that stage.
You will sit over here.
Yeah,
you are. She did that shit without moving her mouth.
You will not embarrass me on this motherfucker stage. You sit your ass down. Wait, and then be like, in front of these good white people, sit your ass down.
Right. So it was very that because Honey, first of all, I didn't even notice. I guess if I go back and watch it, maybe because I'm looking for it now, but I didn't necessarily notice that things didn't go absolutely perfectly.
And if you never pointed them out.
So for Honey to point that out seems unnecessary. And then on top of that, to throw the costume people under the bus. And then she doubled down on the backstage. She's like, everybody knows I only perform in stilettos, and these bitches put me in whatever. I was like, girl, you act like you don't. So there are what? 1, 2, 3, 4 people and teams of 5. So that means they had to dress 20 people.
Yep. 20 people.
So, bitch, if you got a particular stiletto that you want to wear, bring
You
a
better
fucking
bring it,
stiletto.
and it better match all the right outfits.
Right. So, girl, I mean, whatever.
Listen, and I actually love Honey for the talent and the energy that she brings.
But she's
but
young.
that attitude, yes, she's very young.
Mhm.
But that attitude is not going to get. That's the same shit that, like, in the same vein as of Simone. It's like,
Right.
girl, this is not that. And Michaela was not that girl. She kept her mouth shut, but I saw it on her face when shit didn't go right for her.
You can see it on the.
But
you
she
can
didn't
do it on your face,
say
but you don't
nothing.
Say it because
Yeah.
I mean, this competition isn't over.
Yeah,
These
no.
hoes, let's say you make it all the way to the end. There's still 3 more episodes, so you got to get these bitches to dress you, and then now you're gonna get this reputation as a diva on the shit. And so they got Jamila, Naomi, and Megan gave them 10s. Demi gave them a 9 because of the shitty attitude, and Law was like, "Bitch, you get a 7."
Yeah,
because of your shitty attitude.
Yes, and he got it right that time. So that's all I can say about that.
Yeah,
he got it right.
So that gave them a 46.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Orichis, who did Frozen Africa. I guess that was the thing.
I
was like, I felt like I was at the Ice Capades. That's not a good reference.
Yeah, it didn't work for me.
Capades?
Yeah, I remember the Ice Capades, but it didn't work for me though.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I
was not feeling it. That Ice Capades was not. I was not trying to say whatever. Jamila, I'm like, girl, I don't know what you're giving, because Jamila gave them a 10, and I was like,
once again, it's this. Like, I've said this several times, and I'm gonna say it again. There needs to be 2 people from the ballroom scene on this panel.
Well, we got Naomi, but yes,
we need 2 judges on this panel.
Yeah, because Law is a stylist, but that doesn't make him part of the ballroom.
He is not. We need 2 members of the house. If Deshaun is doing a great job as a commentator, but we need a second ballroom person up there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need like a Jack Mizrahi or like a Andre Mizrahi, or like somebody else that would be a little bit more impartial to the art, meaning you know what it is, you know what it's supposed to give, and vote for that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Those are 2 people that come to my mind right now. Even Sanaya, Sanaya can be a little shady at times, but still, like, just some of the girls that can do shit. It needs to be at least 2 ballroom people. So that's my opinion.
I mean, I feel like, frankly, I guess Jamila was maybe the sort of the like money behind.
Isn't she a producer?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so that's what I'm saying. It was like, it was on the strength of her. I don't even know who the fuck Jamila is, but apparently when I first saw her, she was on that show, the Something Index, where you have to guess where people fall. It comes on like TBS or something like that. That's the first time I saw her. But apparently she's been doing stuff behind the scenes. She's been in other movies. And that's what I'm saying. So she has that connection to get the show made, because Naomi couldn't have got the show made.
Ashley, you know what? Desmond, Tony Gravline, absolutely not. You know, she's a little shady. Ashley's a little bit shady. I'm gonna tell you who I would like to see. I would like to see Alyssa. Alyssa would probably be a good impartial judge as well. She's another icon in the ballroom scene as well. But that's my own personal thing.
I honestly, as much as I like Megan, I was like, girl, they can replace Megan. But
I like Megan.
Megan is actually.
I like Megan. I think.
I like her, but I'm saying, what does she add?
She for me, she adds the consistency and the fairness for me. I'm fine with Megan right there.
I do. So I feel like it's 4 judges. I feel like there should. I do like the idea of an odd number of judges.
It should always be
odd. So they need to, if they're going to add, they should always have a guest judge, which is fine. But then they should always. So then that means they need to add 2 more people.
As long as there's 2 people from the ballroom scene. That's
so
all
they add 1 more person from the ballroom scene, and maybe another sort of maybe nicer stylist is like a balance to. So like 2 fashion people. So like Law and 1 other fashion person.
How about we just take Jamila out,
and then another?
How about we just take her?
But Jamila is.
I know she might be the money person, but just take, like, for this judges panel, like, you're not even Paula Abdul at this point, and Law is definitely
Simon.
But you're not even Paula Abdul. You're like Paula Abdul's grandbaby who had a bag full of sweet chocolate.
Right.
And like
Leomi is like Randy. She's like fair. But Randy is like the technician, and
Sanaya can be. They all can be a little shady, but Sanaya is an icon, but she can be a little shady.
I mean, I don't know. I don't even know who this
Oh
person
no,
is.
she can be a little shady. Sanaya is. She's in fact, she's in Pose, as a matter of fact, as an extra. In the wedding scene, she was when they had all the white dresses on. She was the one young lady that had all white hair.
Oh, okay.
That's Sanaya.
Okay. So Garcon did Old Way. I said I love the costumes because I live for the Fringe. But the performance was very soft, and I did not live. And I don't know much about Old Way. But from what I do know, I did not see Old Way unless there is an older way that precedes Old Way.
This is my category that I love. When I vote, I love, and that's when I both do that. I love, and it just, Old Way, if you think of pops, dips, spins, 1980s, beatboxes, break-in, very robotic, very stiff, very, like the first house that did they were dressed in all gold that left, and they had the
blah blah blah.
Yeah, the guy, he actually voted Old Way.
Yes.
So yeah, I didn't see
they got the lowest scores. They got a 35.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Leomi gave them a 6.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
Law gave them a 7. Jamila gave them an 8. Megan gave them a 7. Leomi gave a 6, and Demi gave a 7. So they got a 35.
The ski trip one for Mugler was amazing.
Yes. I said I live for the performance. Clear dips and poses, great synchronization, and then that bubble. And then she was just voguing in the bubble, but it was the gag factor of coming out in the bubble. If she had just walked out and done the performance, it wouldn't have been whatever. It was a gag because you're doing a fucking performance, so you gotta. And any performance can be gag worthy if you do it the right way.
Yeah. And the first time I saw it, which was very gag worthy, there's a girl in the ballroom scene, she's a young lady now, or a young woman now, Devana the Diva. Mm-hmm. This child walked out in this bubble, and she was probably like 9 or 10, runway down, and she stopped and posed, but she was everything. Mm-hmm. It was amazing. So yeah.
So they got 10s across the board. So they got the only 10s across the board. Then they did the 3 Fab Mice, which was the synchronized blah blah blah, and so everybody got chopped except for Mugler, who got a 10.
That is what I'm used to seeing at a ball when you talk about runway as a house,
right?
Or like they synchronize, like that was spot on. Like I was here for it. Everything about it, spot on. Move Deshaun to the panel, get a new host. Maybe, possibly. Deshaun and Leomi are the same person when it comes to performance.
Yeah,
because both of them bitches move.
Yeah.
And so that could work. I could see that as well. The links.
Then they did a face performance, and the shade was when Garcon got chopped. Baby, did you see her fuck? Because they I guess it was who was it from? Stasha. Who was it from?
That's Stasha. Mm-hmm.
So she was basically going up against everybody else. Everybody else was getting chopped, and then when it was Garcon versus Balenciaga. And they didn't even use Shannon Balenciaga. It was somebody else.
I do not see Shannon for face. Sorry, I don't. I see Simone. I even see Tati.
Let's get Kevin to host.
She's talking about Kevin Prodigy.
Girl.
I know you're talking about.
Bitch.
No.
I'm like, girl, do you want to go? Do you want a show?
That's a whole nother.
Do you want a show that goes all the way off the rails?
That's a whole nother. We can have a whole conversation about that. We can have a whole show about that, which you're not gonna do.
Right. Girl, I feel like she would show up on your doorstep like, I heard you were talking about me.
Hi there.
Right. I'd be like, bitch, I don't want to beat your ass, but you showed up on my doorstep, so I'm about to fuck you up.
And don't bring back no memories because you die because.
Anyway, so when Shannon Stasha Garcon got chopped, baby, her face was like, bitch, I got chopped.
Yeah, girl, you got chopped.
Right. And so Balenciaga got the 10s, but that still only brought them up to a 56. And Mugler got a 60. So
they remained
Mugler remained Superior House, and it was Garcon versus Orici, and Orici finally got chopped. Bye. So the top three are Balenciaga, Garcon, and Mugler. I'm still mad that Tichy is not in it. I'm just
so
like
I predict,
and it's so weird because it was something of, you know what it was. I just didn't care for old girl in the beginning, but I saw like her true love for her house.
Oh, you're talking about Gia. Yeah.
I was like, bitch, you are a beast. I mean, because I agree with what you said earlier. It's like the four house members voguing, and then the house mother comes out and does a little pageant wave at the end. But Gia worked the shit. I mean, there was nothing that the other four members of the house did that Gia didn't do. So yes, there were points when Gia was featured as a house mother, but she did everything that everyone else in the house did. It's even with all that silicone in her booty.
Well, that's what baby, you need to see the girls get down with it's talking about silicone and not bitch Miss Sanaya, what I was just talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. You need to see her get down, especially when she fall out and them titties fall out. She just still be like, mm-hmm. Sit, bitch, listen. They gives you the bit, and that's what made it fun. Like she used to come into the ballroom scenes with these little itty bitty tiny shirts on that was barely holding on to the side of her nipples. Mm-hmm. As soon as she starts shaking, she'll be like, ah, they pop out. But it was everything though. So anyway, but we'll see what this brings next week or tomorrow. As a matter of fact, we'll see what it brings tomorrow. And right. Yeah, I'm kind of mad, but I don't know how. I don't even know how. I was so mad that I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore. Like I don't want to see how this ends up. I don't want to see how it ends up.
I kind of felt that way. Yeah, like even this last episode 8, I was like,
and I feel like
when I because I was watching it and I had enough time. It was like a Friday night when I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, they have the next episode on already." But yeah. I was so pissed off.
I feel like
that Tichy was eliminated. I was like, "Girl, I don't really want to watch this right now."
Yeah, I feel like they were robbed. And even if they,
I feel the same way. Even like when they robbed Shangela.
Yes, even if they had kept them in one more episode and they did something where they fucked up, this was too fast for me. I was like, "How do you just like what?" Like I don't.
And it was because it was because they didn't. The scoring has been ridiculous. So their scores in relation to others was somewhat ridiculous. And if you're going to start allowing the judges to be like, I'm giving my vote based on their performance overall and not just tonight, then it's not fair. Because I mean, I could get with, okay, girls, you turned it, and everybody else just turned it harder than you. But you know, you opened the door for dissent by not judging the same way you always judge.
It was, yeah.
But anyway,
I'm gonna watch just because I want to see how this is gonna end up.
Yeah, because I don't have nothing else to do.
And I don't. Life, and so. On top of that, I'm still kind of pissed. I'm not gonna lie, but I think that Mugler is gonna probably turn it. I don't know why I'm feeling that way, but I think at this particular point they might turn it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't see it for Garcon. I don't see it for. I mean, I might see it for Balenciaga.
If anything, and it comes down to a final battle. If they don't send Honey's ass out there to eat these bitches alive, I'm gonna be mad at them. I know something's wrong. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I still remember
And like I'm still waiting for a moment. Like I remember going to the step shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And particularly for the woman, there'd always be this one big AKA or one big Delta. And you'd be like, oh, she about to turn it. And the big girl would be the star. Remember the AKAs came out and they did this thing. And, this is 1989, 1990. So they did this whole Prince Batman thing and or Prince Joker. And so they were all in their pink and white. And they had the big girl come out as a Joker in this black ensemble with a red pyramid on it. And the Deltas was pissed. But she turned the fucking show because just like in Batman, in that Batman movie, Jack Nicholson as Batman, as the Joker, turned it out, and she turned that shit out. And I'm just like, just because you're a big girl, I'm waiting to have a moment where you are the feature, where the fact that all eyes are on you, you are the most visible person, and they haven't done that, and they haven't figured out how to do that. It feels like maybe Tonka paid for everybody playing tickets. So she was like, all right, girl, come on.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth and keep on talking. Come on. Shut your mouth and keep on talking.
All right. So now we got 30 minutes or however long the fuck we want to talk about Pose. So I admit to feeling very, very melancholy coming into this episode because I was like,
no,
but why?
How's it going?
I was like, but why though?
So this was 2 episodes.
It was 2 episodes, 2 of the best episodes of the whole series, in my opinion.
The first episode starts off with Pray Tell in the hospital dying.
Mm-hmm.
And oh boy.
Yeah.
He's laying in the bed because he's dying. Not he
hasn't not literally dying.
Yeah,
but
he is dying.
He's in the final stages. But we also find out that he has far out, that whole trip back to Pittsburgh and all of that was months ago.
Yes.
So he has long outlived the 3 to 6 months that they said that he was going to have.
Yep.
So, he is like, okay, here we are.
Yeah.
But now we are at the end.
Right. And Nurse Judy is there with him along with Blanca, and they're, trying to get them together. And Blanca and Pray Tell share this moment. And it's like a big brother, big sister type of moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, it's like a lot of relationships that I have with people that are close in my life. Like I want to have those moments with them. Like if I'm in this situation, I want to have these moments with them individually. And so I kind of like that. I remember as a grown ass man, even with my family member that I'm not speaking to, I had this moment as a grown ass man where I literally laid on my uncle's chest and he was talking to me and I felt like a kid again. And this was like 6 or 7 years ago. And I'm just laying there on the chest and he's just talking to me. And I'm just like, oh,
I've been
yeah.
that since I was like 12.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I was literally like, I was like, oh yeah. But I felt so good. It was such a recharge for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just a moment like that. So I was here for that. And then they are, Nurse Judy's trying to fight and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to get second opinions. And Blanca, like most people, she's doing her job, but she hears this white queen talk about this study and these new cocktails and everything. She's like, bitch, what? A cocktail? What?
Well, we're dashing over because he was there. He had the thrush, so his throat was sore.
Yes.
Thrush was a very common symptom of the final stages of AIDS, and he's there. And he comes back like a couple of weeks later for like a checkup or whatever, and he's like 100% better to the point where like Blanca didn't even recognize
who he
him
was. Yes,
at first, and he was like, "Yeah, girl, I got into this study," and so she's like,
he was talking about it the first time.
He was talking about it,
yes,
but he was like, I have no idea how to get into this study.
Right.
And that was the whole thing because it was like, wow, I wish we could get in this study. But the white guy who was dying, he was like, girl, I don't really know anybody to get into the study. But apparently he talked to some of his white friends and they figured it out what they needed to do and they got him in it. And so Blanca and her husband, her boyfriend, who I'm very pleased how that turned out because I kept waiting.
I'm waiting for the shoe drop. Yeah,
I'm
waiting. Yeah,
I'm waiting to come to the screen to fuck
like,
you up.
I'm like, oh, Chris, you gotta get fucked up, Christopher. You gotta get
Listen,
fucked up.
Everybody in this whole
Your
neighborhood
street
about
cred
to
is gonna be fucked up. You're gonna be out in the street. Somebody gonna jump.
You about to be like Michael
do,
Beach.
Well, no, they're gonna do like and then they also gonna do like Jada did in the Low Down Dirty Shame, where she was like, she saw the actor. She was like, Ted, is that you? It's like, yeah. She was like, oh,
right. For those of you who don't know, Michael Beach played in a series of movies. He was in Soul Food. He played Terry's husband that fucked the family fucked my family fucked my husband. That was the husband. He was also in he was
Waiting to Exhale. He was the husband
that fucked over
Angela Bassett.
Right. So he played these series of roles where he fucked over all of these famous black women. And if Chris had fucked over Blanca, he would have been that bitch.
Yeah.
Every movie he'd been in. That's the bitch that fucked over Blanca.
Like, get that bitch.
Like, he could play Jesus in the next movie. And he'd be like, I can't fuck with him because he fucked over Blanca in that Unposed.
Be like Miss Lulu
5 years ago.
Be like Miss Lulu. Get that bitch.
Right. But anyway, so they go and they're like, oh, there's no more room in the study. It's like, fuck that. There's no, what do you mean there's no room in the study? It's like the study is biased because symptoms show up differently
in people of
people
color
of different ethnicities. And you don't even have, since you have no people of color in the study, they didn't have any.
No, they had two. They only had two.
Okay.
Because Nurse Judy asked how many people of color, and she was like, we're not able to say that. He's like, 2. You have 2. I am a doctor. I know it is. I talked to people. It was 2 people
out of 80.
2.
Right. And so that doesn't mean, I mean, that's 2 black people. That doesn't include Asians, Native Americans, Latinos. I mean, I guess you can sort of count Blanca as a Latino because she finally got in. But I'm just saying that they would do a study, and so even in the midst of the AIDS fight, we still had to fight racism on top of it. Mm-hmm. So that this man could go from being just some twink. Oh, listen, I'm no shade against someone who got meds.
Right.
I'm not mad at them for getting meds because, girl, if I was dying and someone gave me, I would be like, I would love for other people to get it, but
Absolutely.
I'm still going to take.
But I'm
going
to take mine.
Right.
I'm
clear. I'm going to take mine.
Yeah.
But that we still had to fight that. But he basically went from being a nobody to somehow getting into this study and being one of 80 people. He goes from being a nobody in terms of who this company is, but somehow him, out of all of the people in New York City who were dying of AIDS, out of all of the people in the United States who were dying of AIDS, out of all of the people in the world at that moment who was dying of AIDS, who managed to somehow get into the study. That's a coinky dink. So, I mean, I was just all fucked up. But eventually, they made room for Preytel and Blanca. And Blanca was like, girl, I don't want to do this. But when and who was it that said, girl, this survivor's guilt don't help nobody?
That was that Electra that said that? No, it wasn't. Was Electra said that?
Maybe it was Judge. I want to say Judge Judy, Nurse Judy.
Maybe it was Nurse Judy. I can't remember who it was, but it was said. But I didn't know if I liked how he just threw her in there at first. I was like, well, she's outside smoking a cigarette.
Because Chris was like, and one more for Blanca,
right?
And he was like, I'm not deserving. It's like, girl, you're deserving as anybody else. Yeah. I mean, the fucks, it's got to go to somebody.
Yeah.
So, because there's no good logic for why it goes to Preytel.
I'm glad he spoke up for her, but it was kind of like, well, damn, like, did they even know that was the issue? Like, did they even, you know what I mean? Like, did they even know that what was going on with her? But that's the part that was
the assumption is that it was.
But
so
it's okay.
And then so we check in like a couple of weeks later, and
Preytel is marching
clean.
Marching.
I thought he was already dead, and that was his ghost, because this show loves a ghost.
And that fucking sequin Garrison cap and that motherfucking the Vogue shirt. I said, bitch, you clean motherfucker.
But the drugs worked well.
Yeah, worked very well.
Judge Judy, Nurse Judy had been lamenting to Blanca that she was tired.
Yeah.
You can't be Florence Nightingale forever. just continuing to watch people die around you.
It's a lot.
And then when we check back in with Nurse Judy, she's now working in the maternity ward because so we're skipping over the whole part where they basically cut the fool. And people, this is why when people, I love a good party. And so I love Pride. And don't get me wrong, I spent most of the 90s in Tallahassee, Florida. So I didn't know anybody. I didn't know that I knew anybody that was HIV positive.
Mm-hmm.
There certainly was no gay pride in Tallahassee, Florida. There was none of that. I wasn't even out to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I wasn't, but I wasn't even out to myself until 1997.
Okay.
I made up.
I didn't
made up for lost time.
I didn't say nothing.
But or 1996, but whatever. So this wasn't my direct thing, but I read history and I understand. So I know what ACT UP did. Mm-hmm. I know that gay pride hasn't always been about how many loads you can get in the club and then let's go have brunch. I mean,
come on, somebody.
Pride was, yes, the girls was out on the corner naked, but it was an act of rebellion then. Mm-hmm. It was, these people were out on the street naked, wearing their leather or whatever the fuck they were doing, or kissing their husband at a time when they could have been arrested.
Yes.
Like if you lived in Schenectady, upstate New York, and you drove your ass down to New York City to Christopher Street and was in the Pride Parade and they saw you on TV, you could lose your job the next day.
Yeah.
So, we stand, I'm on PrEP. I don't know about how many other of our viewers are on PrEP, but
see, you know what? That's that damn Philadelphia public school math. When you don't go to any of the magnet programs, and
Desmond said he was born in 1997.
Dead motherfucker, was born in 1997. His ass was born in probably 1957. With his old ass.
But my point is that they ACT UP, not just in New York City, but around the country. Groups like ACT UP really put pressure on these drug manufacturers to be like, listen, people like Praytel. Praytel's a fictional character, of course. Right. The white boy with the thrush was a fictional character. But what happened to them wasn't.
No.
People literally went from dying to I got a manageable condition like diabetes within weeks.
Yep.
Praytel went from being almost totally blind in one eye, practically blind in the other, to strutting down the street. And
thanks for that.
We'll put that on the screen real quick. One of our brothers, Roman Onyx, says if there's anyone who needs access to PrEP or sexual health services, he's available to assist. And if you want to reach out to him through us, you can reach the BGKH Show on Facebook. You can reach either of us via Facebook. You can also email the show at thebgkhshow@gmail.com.
And we will certainly pass the information on to make that connection.
Yeah, so, I mean, we stand on the shoulders of people who did that hard work. And so what happened was they were successful in getting that drug. We also were in the Clinton administration, so it was also a administration that was more friendly to the LGBT community and everything. Not to say that the Clintons were perfect.
No, not at all.
That's not even the point. But, so it got to the point where that hospital was able to turn their AIDS ward into a maternity ward.
Yeah.
Imagine that there were so few people dying from AIDS all of a sudden that they could turn an entire ward of a hospital from an AIDS ward to a maternity ward.
And it's so funny because they wound up putting so much more money and time and effort into the appearance of that ward.
Right.
Afterwards.
Right. And so, that was a long ass rant. But my point is that these days, the kids talk about Pride, and it's like, does kink belong in Pride? Which, by the way, it 100%
Absolutely
does.
fucking does.
It 100% does, because who the fuck do you think was out there? It was the leather daddies and the leather dykes and the transgender people,
Yes.
and all of those people who couldn't hide themselves, in their suburban undercover existence, who were out there fighting on their behalf. Billy says he went to see the quilt, which I haven't done.
I have
Bernie says
never
need to do
gotten
that.
to see the quilt, and but it's too large to actually open up and put out now.
I think
And
they do it like in
there's like sections that they put out.
Yeah.
And I have yet to go and see, because I've always wanted to see the quilt. And I remember when they spread it out all on the lawn in front of the mall. And to stand at the mall right now and to see how vast that space is,
and to see it was entirely covered.
It was entirely covered, and it wasn't even all of it.
Right.
And it's grown since then. So can you like, I would be absolutely overwhelmed, like thinking about all the energy and the love and the spirits that were there. That is a, like, the thought of it is actually almost overwhelming me right now. Right. But I never got the chance to actually see that.
Billy says, I get so mad that folks want to get new and conservative and not include kink. Yeah, people don't pay attention to history, and they don't know what came before and all of the sacrifices that people went through. We're going to talk about that a little bit more as we get deeper into the episode. But anyway, so now we are a few months later. Pray Tell's doing good.
Yes.
And then
he bumps into Ricky.
Yes.
And it was so like,
right. And I was like, oh, they about to get back together.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh my God. But for me, it was, whether they were getting back together or not, one thing was, and it didn't quite happen that way. But the thing was, I think Pray Tell saw it as, I'm older, I still love this man, even though he is not with me because of, all the things that we've gone through and where I was at in my life at that particular point in time. I still love and care for this young man. And so he cared for him in the way that he knew how he could care for them. Right.
And then we discover that Ricky has full-blown AIDS. Because when you start to have those lesions,
right,
you go from having HIV to having full-blown AIDS.
He started developing purple blotches, which was a form of Kaposi's sarcoma, and all of that stuff. So that whole process.
Right.
And he was upset because he could no longer dance, and as a dancer, his body was out, and so he couldn't show that. So he was like, that's where he was. And Pray Tell was like, in his mind, he's like, you're too young to be giving up on life. You have too much to offer.
Right.
And he's
and
like,
so all he told Ricky was that,
well, we didn't find that part out yet.
He did sort of mention that I'll take care of you.
He said, yeah, that's what he said. He said, I'll take care of you. Yeah.
He didn't
specify. Yeah.
But in my heart, I was like, girl, he's gonna give him his pills.
I said,
I knew that was, for me, that felt like
it was
what he was going to do, because I felt like he still felt bad for how he treated Ricky at the end. So anyway, then they go back to the ball.
Yeah.
And Blanca and but I knew, I was like, girl, he's going to die at the end of this episode. Not that I knew, because I knew what was going to happen, but I felt like just like everything in the episode was leading up to he's about to die.
It was a lot. And I felt like because there's a line that Blanca,
even when they did the fucking song, that song was like,
yes. But there's a line that Blanca said. Well, we're coming to that. Well, no, I would say the at the ball they did Diana Ross and her outside performance in the, what's that part?
Central Park.
Thank you. In the rain, it's like his iconic performance. They did Ain't No Mountain High Enough, and the flawless thing was they had the rain on the inside. They were like, it was flawless. Like I was like, that was a moment. Like moments like that happen in the ballroom scene all the time. And like when you're there and it happens, you're like, bitch, what?
Right.
That was flawless. But fast forward to after the end of the ball, can we just focus on Pray Tell standing outside up against this gate with this red jacket on and this motherfucking red hat? I was like, yes! It was like this satin jacket and the satin hat and it set up like 2-3 feet up in the air, and Pray Tell was clean as shit. He was like, "Hey, dog."
Right, but then when he got home, it was very, I'm taking off my makeup.
He was, but the conversation with him and Blanca, and when he said goodbye to
Right,
Chris, he
and
said,
as
"Take care of her."
Freak Nasty said, he said, I have today, I don't need tomorrow. And I was like, girl, something's about to happen to him.
Yeah.
And when he got into the bed and he blew out the candles, and like he blew out the candles one by one, and then I was like, girl, he's about to die.
Yeah, something.
But then I was like, but how can he
How
die?
can he die? We didn't figure it out.
Better.
And he knew, because he probably wasn't feeling well because he stopped
Right.
taking the medication.
Mhm.
And he was like, at this, and I think they even told him at that particular point with the medication, like, you have to take this stuff, because had to take it every single day, the same time every day.
Right,
like you couldn't miss a dose.
It's not like just randomly going and getting your pills. They give you a specific number of pills, and they're not going to give you any.
Come
extra.
on, thespian. And of course, out brief candle is a thespian forecast of death. Come on, thespian.
Well, Lynx went to school for.
I'm just
we did that when we did the walk.
He's classically trained.
Exactly.
Classically trained.
I think other people got the reference because Shakespeare has made its way into so many other things that people understood that it was a foreshadowing of death without knowing that it was Shakespeare. You know what I mean? So, he says, I don't know if anyone picked up on the foreshadowing. I was like, yeah, they got that it was, foreshadowing death, but they didn't know the history of it, that goes back to Shakespeare. And then so the next day, Ricky comes in, and of course, Pray Tell is dead.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was
I was like, oh, that's sad. And it was like a tear. Then when we get to the hospital and Judy, we don't hear it, we see it. We see through one, those double swinging doors. We see through the mirror, through the window in the door. Judy runs up to Blanca. Blanca bursts through the door, grabs Ricky, and when Blanca screamed, that's when I lost it.
Fell down. I was like,
that's when I lost it. That's when I was like, oh. I was like, oh.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was definitely a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. I think the part for me was when they were at the table recounting how everything happened, and that's when Ricky was saying Pray Tell had a hookup, and he told me he was giving me extra stuff, and it dawned on him at that point.
Right, and being in a study, I was like, "Girl, no, he was giving you his pills.
He was giving you all his pills."
Because I understand. No shade, but we all know that Ricky is. And you don't even necessarily, if you don't know these sorts of things, you don't know.
Right.
If you don't know how studies and protocols kind of work, if these kids dropped out of school, they're not science majors and whatever, so they don't understand that, you can't just go in and be like, oh, hey, can I get a extra, I know this super secret it's not secret, but this super experimental drug that you all are letting me take that saved my life. Can I just get like double the dose? So I was like, because when Ricky was like, because we didn't know up until that point that Ricky was fine.
Yeah.
And so once we knew that Ricky was fine, I was like, oh, now I know exactly what happened. Pray Tell stopped taking his drugs and gave his drugs.
When he was pouring the drugs out and putting them in his, I was just like, oh my God. The thought of somebody doing that,
he sacrificed himself.
I was like, bitch.
Right. Judge Judy said there is no way he had extra pills. Because this is an experimental study.
And that was survivor's guilt as well at that particular point,
right,
for him. Because this man has sacrificed himself for you. And I was like, and listen, I am not in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have any. I have very, very close friends and family. I just hope to never be faced with that dilemma of sacrificing myself for something.
I think Pray Tell was totally at peace with it. Because he had already gone to see his mama. He had made his peace with that. He had made peace with the pastor, who we all know was never going to come back and spend that time. Can you imagine the gag if the pastor had come back thinking that he was going to be there for like 3 months and he could have explained it away to his wife, because his wife would have accepted any old excuse that he was on sabbatical or that he was doing whatever. And then like 3 months turned into 6 months, turned into 9 months, turned into a year, and this motherfucker still ain't dead yet. Can you just imagine the gaggage on Pastor Vernon's face when this dude still ain't died?
Anyway,
but yeah, so they're all sitting around the table, and Ricky is just heartbroken because he realized the sacrifice that Pray Tell made for him. And then they had a lovely scene where they all sat around. Oh, first Mama came.
Right, that was the start of the episode where Pray Tell's mom came, and you had these two mothers that were there dealing with the loss of their loved one.
Yes.
And so while like her Pray Tell's mom said, she said to Blanca, I know exactly who you were to him. You were his sister, you were his mother, you raised him. Mm-hmm. She said, but that's my child. She said, but you were his mother and you raised him. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, that moment was so powerful for me.
Very.
And she said, I have his ashes and I've done what I need to do with them, or half of them rather, and I have the other half. And I felt like you should have that. Mm-hmm. That right there, that is a lot for me. And as someone who has cremated both my stepfather and my sister, I don't know if I want your ashes in my house. I'm gonna take you somewhere and put you in a nice space, but I don't know if I want you in my house. Not like that.
I feel like I would do like a cute garden and like
put them in the
soil.
That's what.
And
I
then
would do.
like the flowers that come every year or whatever grows in that garden is now going to be like a constant reminder to me or memorial. But I do not need a container.
I don't want you
that can accidentally get knocked over. Like, whoops.
So for both of the containers, they are sealed. Mm-hmm. My stepfather.
So that only happens on sitcoms where the spills.
Yeah, well, it kind of depends on how the container is sealed.
Oh, okay.
So the one, there was one of my stepfathers didn't look like a wooden football. It was this very interesting red cherry wood oval shaped thing with the base that was screwed on. Mm-hmm. My sister had a gold one that sat down on top of something, and so it doesn't open. But if you hit it and it fell, it could possibly open. It's not screwed shut like the other one.
Gotcha.
So that's where
both of those, I'm like, I don't want that. But like the idea of like planting it and doing it something like that.
Definitely,
Or like taking it to a place that meant something to me and to you, and like plant a tree.
I mean, my mother has said that. She's literally said that to me, like, sprinkle my ashes because I'm such a free spirit. I was like, oh Lord Jesus Christ.
Right.
But I never forgot that. And that's what will happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And then so they sit around and Blanca has taken her half of the ashes.
Yes.
And made these lockets and mentioned to what each person meant to them. And it's so funny. It was like she got Electra a locket. She was like, he originally didn't want to give you one,
this,
but he was just playing. No, he wasn't.
He was so serious.
Absolutely not playing.
He was so serious, but he also did write that. He said, just give the girl this. Just go and give it to her.
Right. It would just it would have been unnecessarily.
But that was emotional for me as well, because he talked about each one of them. Mm-hmm. And that was emotional for me. So I got all emotional, and I started thinking about some friends that I lost, and it just made me think about a couple people. So it was
that whole this last episode, because you knew it was coming to an end. So it was just like, and it was great. And then so we do all of that, and then we fast forward
to the
that was 1996 when Pray Tell died. Because she finished the quilt because they didn't have an end date on it.
Right.
And she finished in 1996. Then they fast forwarded to 1998. Chris and Blanca are still doing well.
Well, let's talk about the fact that they went to the ACT UP meeting
Oh
at
yeah, I
the
totally
ACT
forgot
UP
about
meeting.
that. That was where the other sacrifice
That
was.
is correct.
Because the rest of the ashes that didn't go into the urn. So this was a real thing.
Yes.
Where they actually went to Gracie Manor.
The mayor.
That's where the mayor of New York City lives. Yep. And they scattered the ashes
of
on
all
there.
The
and I don't know if the placing of the body actually happened, but it feels like it did to me. I don't know. I'd need to look that up. But during the ACT UP meeting, one of the women, there's a woman there saying, you know, when her son said before he died, I want you to take my body and put it on the mayor's doorstep because this is partially his fault because, you know, he ignored all of these people in your city. So they literally carried this man's body. And I was like, wow, they kept this body for
so wait a minute. This is something I overlooked. Maximus said that Jackie had the ashes and she had to beg and plead with her to get and that's fine.
Right.
She did. She did.
Right. She did have the ashes. She did have half. And so that's why I said half
his
of
Aunt
half.
Jackie, yes.
Right. So so they were throwing the ashes onto the lawn, and they eventually busted through the gates, and they literally dumped the body or something in a bag. I wasn't sure if that was an actual
it was.
body.
I don't think it was an actual body
because I feel like they couldn't have kept that body. No one's going to be like, can I just hold on to this body for a couple of weeks? No.
It was something in
it was something body shaped and covered in a shroud that they dumped on the mayor's doorstep. It would have been a gag if it was an actual body. Though.
Yeah, I don't feel like that
actual body because there was at least a couple of days.
Absolutely.
And where did they keep this body? And did they be like, hey, can I borrow this body for a couple of hours and then I'm gonna bring it back so you can finish the burial? That just seemed like a lot. So, but it was in a very gay way, in a very theatrical way.
It was a gag. It was a statement. It was a statement.
Very much a statement because those ashes were definitely real. That also that made me very emotional because these people, you know, Billy talked about it earlier, you know, watching people die alone, or, you know, there are like, remember the blind boy from, I don't know, it was the second season or whatever, who all he wanted was his mother, and Blanca had to pretend to be the boy's mother because the boy's real mother wouldn't come.
Well, she did get the mother to come, remember?
No. We're not talking about Cubby.
Okay, who are we talking about?
Just some random dude who went blind.
Okay.
And it was like, Mama? And Blanca was like, hey, baby, I'm here, because his mother wasn't there. And he literally died like within the next few moments. So, I mean, I'm sure it was a prop for the show.
Right.
Link says, I'm sure it was a prop even in reality. Yeah, because it just feels like they couldn't.
Yeah, I don't think it. Yeah.
What dancer?
That was the dancer. Damon's teacher was the mama.
Was that Damon's mother? That was Damon's teacher? I have to go back and watch that.
That wasn't Damon's teacher.
The black woman
with the afro.
Was that her?
That wasn't her. She was younger than that.
I'll have to go back and watch. But anyway, so we see all of that. And that was very moving because people were dumping the ashes and then embracing, because that was like a moment of some sort of closure for them. Especially because as people, you know, listen, the word about that that drug combo was getting out.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to think about your good girlfriend that just died 2 weeks ago, and suddenly everyone around them is living.
Yeah.
You also got to think of there was a lot of gays that declared bankruptcy because girls
they were
drained the fuck out of it, because it was like, girl, I'm about to die.
Like,
so
I'm great.
I'm about to take out this 401k, and then they took this drug, and suddenly they are living and broke.
And now they broke. But they had one old fabulous time though.
Right. So there's that. Then where are we?
So we're fast forward
to 2 years. Blanca and Christopher
are still together, and they still got this hot romance.
Still got this hot, nasty, not nasty, but hot and heavy romance going on. Mm-hmm. Blanca has graduated from nursing school
and is now an actual nurse.
And then so now they're celebrating their 4-year anniversary. So been together since 1994, so that's cute for them. So the girls decide to go have dinner,
Yes,
or lunch,
and they
can I
had
just
a
say,
absolute legendary moment because all four of them bitches looked drop dead fucking gorgeous.
but special shout out to fucking India Moore because she sat there. I was like, I can't even. I was like, bitch. I was like, she looked so fucking good. I mean, and it was such a natural beat because lots of people can look good if you throw a ton of makeup on them, and I'm sure she had makeup on, definitely, but she just looked, flawless.
In the words of Deviant, she's a beautiful girl, honey. She's a beautiful girl.
Yes, Elektra. I love that silver streak that Elektra had.
Fucking Elektra. Like, what I love about Elektra is she's always Elektra, but she's done so many fucking things in her life, good, bad, on every side of the damn road, and this bitch still comes out on top. Always. And she knows how to maneuver through the system, which was fucking amazing.
Because I just assumed,
I love it.
When she hooked up with the mafia, I was like, oh,
it was gonna go bad. It's gonna go bad
horribly for you.
But she knows how to listen.
See the move from being a dominatrix.
No, she done moved from being out on the streets, to now being a working at a dungeon as a dominatrix.
Right.
Move around the streets to having a sugar daddy.
Right.
To then working out on the streets. I mean, in the dungeon. I'm sorry. She had a job first.
No. So she started on the streets.
On the streets. Then she had a sugar daddy. Then she worked at the restaurant.
Then she
went to the dom.
No,
she became a dom.
No, before she became a dom, remember, she was one of the quarter lift the screen
That's
girls.
Right. She was that, and then she became a dom. But then after that, she then had her business.
What business?
She ran the telephone business. The telesex.
Oh, that's what I was getting to. Yeah. The phone sex.
The phone sex business. Yeah.
Then she went from phone sex to cams.
Child,
this bitch is on the top of everything.
I am not even mad at her.
Talked about her house in Boca Raton and her penthouse, and then her house in Boca Raton. Listen, that bitch stay on top.
She stay on, and I'm just not mad at her at all. Like,
and Lulu is
she finally made to be an accountant.
She got an accountant, and a bit, because a lot of girls be like, yeah, I'm going to accounting school. But no, this bitch
she is
an accountant. It's like bitch, it's tax season, so you can't really.
I got shit to do. But she showed up, and
I loved how Elektra was like, "Listen, girl, I'm in my 50s now." She was like, "Sex in the City." The fuck? It's like I am not going to let four white women.
She's like, yes, I am cosmopolitan.
Right. She's like, no, Johnny Walker, red label if you've got it.
She said, yes, red, but blue label if you have it, please. I was like, oh my God.
Yes, and she was like, listen, I am not going to let four white women tell me how to live in New York City.
But that was I enjoyed that because for me, it was. They've all been through some shit in their lives. And this is one of the things that Spill It Boy's on here as well, but then Desmond and then my other friend Eric. Like this is when I've talked to you about all the shit that I've done in my life. Like 99.999% of the shit in my life. But like to have those and there's a moment of when we get together and we all laugh and joke because it's like, bitch, 20 years ago, this would have been a whole different scene. Like we were in a whole different space. We were on a whole different. So I get emotional when I think about that. And I definitely get emotional when I think about that because I know their struggle. And so I'm imagining how they felt, and because I know how I feel right now about certain things.
Yeah, Elektra said, people come to New York City just to have sex. And so it was a beautiful moment with the four women who have really been the heart of the show.
Yes.
And they
even talked about Damon.
Right. Damon moved to Chicago. He's living with a man who
what you're saying is he has a sugar daddy now.
It's like, no. It was like, ain't nothing wrong with having a sugar daddy.
Right. So yeah, it was a. I've been critiquing the show from the standpoint of saying it was very fairy tale-ish, but you know what? Why not? Why can everybody else have a fairy tale? And why can't they?
Why do their lives have to turn out bad?
Yeah.
It is entirely possible
Yeah.
that a woman who started off as a nursing assistant
Yep.
buckled her ass down and went to nursing school and got her degree in nursing.
Yeah.
It is entirely possible that a trans woman who has
absolutely.
always come out on top has made money off of the shit.
Listen, and let's talk about this. There's a young lady who used to hang out with us up in the Nile in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Big girl. She was a nurse. She
Mhm.
was a registered nurse.
Mhm.
And she always came through and partied at the motherfucking club and at the ballroom scene. And we all called her the nurse because that's what the fuck she would come out in her scrubs. She had a job. I don't know where she is now. I don't know what she's doing, but
right.
she had a
So
job.
I mean, none of the. I mean, it was that they all lived happily ever after. But I mean, we always fucking have happily ever after stories. So why can't
That's right.
these-
Samantha did go to college. Miss Cookie Tookie. She went to mortuary school. She owned a business.
So yeah. So why
Yeah.
can't these women have a happily ever after?
Jackie, yes, Nurse Jackie. Okay.
She has Angel has happily fallen into motherhood.
Yeah.
And is getting modeled.
It looks good for her.
It
looks good on
worked
her.
for her.
It looks good on her.
I figured it would work out for her. And so now Blanca invites them to come back to the balls.
Yes.
And Electra was like, hot and sweaty. She's like, aren't you going to come? I said hot.
You want me to go back in this hot and sweaty room?
Right.
Like,
And so, but then as soon as they said it, I was like, of course they're going to show up in the end.
and Blanca was still doing her nurse work as a nurse, but she also was volunteering her time. I think that was the part that she was volunteering her time at the clinic, or was that a
No,
part
that
of
was
her
her
clinic?
job now.
Okay.
She was the person that sort of counseled
them
people.
through.
And there was a young trans woman
Named Safari that came through.
who came
Mhm.
through, and she was like, listen, girl, I know this spot that you should come. And
That's right. Ayana got her PhD. Okay, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so this whole story, this whole through line that we even accept, because I've heard lots of people LGBTQ.
Oh yeah,
that's like, why does it have to be such a fairy tale? I was like, girl, our stories don't always have to end in tragedy.
This is true.
And death. I mean, people died. Cubby died. Candy died. Pray Tell died. I mean, people died in the show. Everybody ain't got to die for it to be realistic. Realistically, some people do fucking have good lives. And I mean, other than Electra and old, she's only like her late 40s, early 50s.
She's our age.
So, I mean, there's still plenty of shit that could happen to them. They, at that moment, they had a good moment in their lives.
Yeah, they did. And I think we talked about this. I think I mentioned this on the show. Like, there's a picture that I have there's a picture that I took in Pittsburgh with a group of friends. And in this group of friends, 3 of them are dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's only like 6 of us in the picture. And I was like, well, what the? Once again, emotional. Like, I got emotional because.
Would you say you were on a
emotional roller coaster? Loving you ain't nothing healthy. Loving you was never good for me, and I can't get off. So, yeah, it's things don't always necessarily end the way you want, but they do end. They end on a good note.
Right.
So for a lot of people,
so they get to the, Blanca gets to the ball, and she's just there because Ricky's
is now the house father.
Father Evangelista, and he whipped them girls in the shade.
Shout out to the producers for giving the homage to Hector Extravaganza, because when Ricky did his arm with the Evangelista, that was Hector Extravaganza had that on his. So shout out to that.
Yes,
I thought that was amazing, and he was whipping the girls into shape.
Oh, we didn't do this. Did you see Electra on House?
I didn't see it yet. I didn't see it yet.
It was good. It was good.
But shout out to that. And then when they had the kids to come out and introduce themselves, they saw. Listen, that little girl that was voguing with the blonde hair. baby, I was like, okay, girl. It's like, all right. It's
We'll
cute.
just leave it alone.
I'm gonna leave that alone. It's
Right.
cute for you, this blonde hair.
I didn't feel like any of them should
I was
have
like,
won
it's
that
cute for
category, but
blonde
okay, fine. Whatever.
I like the little punk rock with the wings. I thought that was a cute look, but
Yes.
okay. But anyway, so
what gagged me was
Lamar.
and Lamar was giving very much dude that's a little too old to be in the club, but still in the club.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Or like, there was a dude at our school who was, I don't know what his deal was, but he was like, we're all college age, so everybody's in there. I mean, some of us was on the 5 or 6 year plan, but this dude was on like the 20-year plan. He had been at Florida A&M University since if this was 1991, he had been at FAMU. His freshman year at FAMU was like 1981, and he was still just there. So it was giving it was like, girl, like you go away and you've graduated, and then you come back for like homecoming, like 3 or 4 years.
Like, bitch, good to see you. What you doing now?
Like, hey, girl, yeah, you know, this is my wife, this is my kids, and everything. He was like, I'm a junior.
I'm still back in the dorm.
Exactly, because he didn't live. He literally didn't live in the dorm. So he must have
grandfather prestige. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he must have paid FAMU thousands of dollars.
You paid $1,000 for that chair,
right? And so we saw that, and then of course we know Elektra shows up,
right?
And she deems Blanca.
She had been deemed by the council to be a legend on the ballroom scene, and I was here for it. And then, of course, all of her sisters and her children, everybody shows up.
Everybody
Lulu,
shows up.
Angel, they all show up. Ricky's there, but Angel was. I mean, Poppy was.
Angel and Poppy were.
Angel and Poppy were. Okay, I can remember. Yeah, so everybody showed up, and it was great. But also, who showed up at this ball was the young lady that she had given her telephone number to. I mean, not telephone
Safari,
number, the information about the ball to show up. And Safari showed up. And so when she showed up, she was like, "Hey, girl." She was just like, "Listen." She was like, "I'm gonna need you to head on to the back. I'm gonna need y'all to get her into something." She's like, "Well, what's going on? What's this?" She said, "Oh no, girl, you are now an evangelista." She was like, "What?" And part of the course, this is literally how a lot of these house kids get swept up, and how they become a part of the ballroom scene. And it starts off in a very great place. Some of them go down some very dark roads. Yes. Some of them stay on some very good roads. But I thought that was great. And
I'm almost guaranteeing you it's not spelled like that, Links. Safari. I'm sure it's not spelled like that.
Who knows?
There might be a silent P at the beginning.
So Blanca's sitting there at the end thinking about the fact that she's been a legend. She's just thinking in the room, all the memories and all that stuff. And she goes outside.
Yes.
And this mother of this young upstart house approaches her. And like the mother that she once was, with the same frustration, and the roles have changed, where she is now doing the same thing that Pray Tell did to them.
Right. This woman is asking Blanca the same questions that
she
asked 10 years ago. That was about 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Because 1996, the show started in 86. So yeah, so about 10 years ago. Blanca is now responding in the same way that Pray Tell responded to Blanca 10 years ago. And we see Pray Tell's ghost sort of encouraging it, because Blanca had talked about, Pray Tell is with me every day.
Yes.
Sometimes he tells me a joke. Sometimes I go to him for advice.
Yes. And the one thing that I was mentioning earlier that I didn't say, that I was saying I'll say for later, she said when they asked her, what did Pray Tell write about you? And she said nothing.
Nothing.
She said, because there's nothing unsaid. There's nothing left unsaid. And I was like, bitch, that's perfect. That got me absolutely emotional, because there's so much shit that I want to say to so many people, and I just have to sit down and actually just say it to them. Like I'm still getting welled up now, because it's just a lot of stuff I just want to say to people, and I'll eventually say it, but just can't right now, because it's like I remember Oprah Winfrey being interviewed about Gail, and she burst out into tears. She's like, I just so much stuff I want to tell her, blah 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 blah. And it's not anything life shattering, but it's just her feelings and how she feels about her, all type of stuff. So
and so then Blanca walks off into the night, and that's the end.
That's the end of the show. And it was It was good though.
It was
good.
It was, for me, it was the perfect finale. They sort of closed off all of the things. I wonder what happened to
Child. Everything was all wrapped up nice and neat. It would be interesting to see if in her later years how Elektra dealt with her mother, if at all. I take the impression that she probably didn't, but knowing Elektra as her character has evolved, she probably was financing her mother as well.
She probably was, because they did mention that, as much as icy as Elektra is, they said that she was 100% financing, because they were programs, because like when because the reason Safari and Blanca met was because she went to get tested and Safari found out that she was HIV positive.
Yes.
And she was like, hey, I'm getting you on all these programs, and they're funded by private donations and everything. And it's people like Elektra who were funding that. So quiet as kept, she was paying for that. She was paying for the girls' surgeries and hormones and stuff. So, it's a difference. I saw something once between the difference between being nice and being kind. Being nice is some old bullshit that you do in public.
Yeah.
Being kind is actually the acts. That was a kind act.
Yeah.
Paying for a trans woman's hormones is a kind act.
Absolutely.
Being nice is just some street level surface bullshit.
Let me get you this grilled cheese sandwich and a glass of water.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so I think all of the things, the only thing that would have even have been of a little interest to me is I wanted to see what happened to Stan, the white guy that Angel fucked with the first season. I don't really want him to get back. It would have just been, what would have been cute. Here's what would have been cute: to see him just sort of walking down the street and to see Angel on a billboard and be like, I used to fuck that bitch.
Right.
Or whatever. Not something that class,
but that's like, probably what he would have said.
Him be like, that's the one that got away.
That's probably
or maybe like they're at a oh, here's the gag. Like if they were at a restaurant, so it's Angel and Poppy and the little boy who was like the cutest thing ever. Or and then him in this horrible marriage that he can't get out of with the woman and their awful children who are like screaming and whatever. And meanwhile, Lil Man and Poppy are doting on Angel, and it's like the perfect family. And he's like, bitch, that could have been me.
Or when they go to purchase a house and they purchase the house
that they used to live in. Wouldn't that be a fucking gag? And they don't know because she never went to his house.
Yeah, she never did.
That would be a fucking gag. And you don't, because a lot of times you don't meet the owners. If at all, you might only meet them at closing. Possibly, I mean, I don't know, because I bought a brand new house. So
possibly.
But I'm even at the brand new house, the guy who built the house was there. So maybe they're like they just come in and the house is being sold because they're getting a divorce. Finally, after all of this time, they're getting a divorce. So Angel and Poppy are buying this house in Jersey because, if you grew up in the hood,
you want to move
buying a house in Jersey was like a fucking dream.
It was everything.
So they bought this house in Jersey and they about to put the kid in the school, and they go and sitting across the table because Angel is late because she's got this whole fucking thing or whatever. Yeah. She shows in and like the Stan and the wife both gag because they know who the fuck she is, but Poppy don't remember.
Well, yeah, and she doesn't know who the wife. Well, she figures out probably who the wife is.
Remember, she met the wife.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did. They had a conversation.
So when Angel walks in, she immediately knows who they are. Yeah. But her man is just like, girl, we got this. Yeah. Just like I walked you through when we got this marriage license, was walking through this. Yeah. So that would have been funny.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, I would. I mean, there are definitely Link says spinoff possibilities. I would love to see a spinoff. I'd love to see, like what happened, like a West Coast version, because Ballroom developed entirely differently.
It did,
because things are a lot more similar now because of the internet, and so what you see on the East Coast and the West Coast might be a little more similar in terms of music and fashion and lots of other stuff.
No, it's just, they're different. They're
Okay,
like,
well then
they're
correct
two
me.
different. I mean, like there are some similarities, but they are two different beasts.
Okay.
And for a long time, there wasn't necessarily a big population on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And even even in like the times that I was in it, like we started to get towards the Midwest, and it was like this was new in the Midwest. And so I was like, bitch, really? Like even going further, it's like it's like getting to the West Coast. I don't know. I mean,
I remember when this show first started off, and we was like, I don't know, Ryan Murphy. And truth be told, the quality of the story from the first season,
Electra's Dominique's acting for me, I was like,
it was terrible. I said it to somebody, and they was like, I always thought she was good. I was like, she was not good the first season. She just had to emote and yell. And in those scenes where she had to read a bitch, I'm sure she was just being Dominique from Trinidad, having to read the girls like any good Black trans woman would know how to read the girls. But that didn't mean she could act. She learned how to act by the third season, because she was like, we need a loud trans woman the first season. She was like, I'm your woman. By the third season, she was like, I'm your woman.
I'm an actress.
Hear me roar. I am an actress.
I have all the emotions.
Right. I am sensitive and highly strung. And I mean, once he figured out she could make some money off of this acting gig, she was like, girl, somebody sat her down and was like, girl, you could be good. You need to go and take some lessons between these seasons and, figure it out. Because there was a couple of times where she had to cry and some
even in this episode, she cried.
She emoted and it felt genuine.
Yeah.
What I would like to see, Ryan Murphy and Stephen Canals, I would like to see, I don't want to say Noah's Ark, but I do want to see a story about Black gay men.
Like Invisible Life, like them working with that.
And like is Ryan Murphy doing that?
I don't know if Ryan Murphy's doing it, but I would love to see him kind of attached to it in some way, shape, or form.
Or even that story, because that's a different set of Negroes than like Noah's Ark. I mean, I mean that professional person, I am Raymond. Well, I want to be Raymond. Maybe not am.
I think I fit more in a let me take that back. Different stages of Invisible Life was amazing for me because I felt like it was literally my story.
Right. But I would love to see the lives of Black gay men handled with the same care and delicacy and range of emotional stories and depth of stories as we saw with these trans women of color.
Yeah.
Noah's Ark was cute, but Noah's Ark was kind of a dramedy.
It was, but
and that's fine. But I would love to see like a serious storyline.
Are you trying to get Patrick to do it? Patrick Ian Polk?
Because although who does it, I want to see it quality. And Noah's Ark was many things, but it was not quality.
I can't even argue with it. But I will say
there was a level of quality. I'm not saying it was terrible, but I'm just saying that it wasn't as rich and as fully. We didn't get to know the characters in the same way that we got to know Blanca. And I mean, because overall, I mean, altogether, there were less than 30 episodes of Pose. It's not like there were hundreds of episodes.
True.
Pose. But we all feel like we know exactly who Blanca, Electra, even Lulu, even though Lulu got sort of the most screen time.
She got the least.
Right. But even her, I mean, I still feel like we got to know who those characters were. And I feel like I would like to see a show that explores the life of Black gay men in the same kind of way. And I'm not suggesting that it has to be
no. I'm
Patrick
thinking
Ian Polk or even Ryan Murphy. But what I will say is that the show got way better once they leaned into trans women of color writing the stories of trans women.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
once Janet Mock got involved,
Yeah, it got
once,
a lot better.
Our Lady
Quality.
J, who was a trans woman as
Yes.
well, the quality of the stories and whatever got better. And once, you know, the Black people
Started.
and the brown people started having input, you know, right, Spiller Boy, Noah's Ark gave sitcom tease, which is fine.
But I loved it, and that. But
I love Noah's Ark too.
Yeah.
But I want to see
I
a
love
more
the
treatment,
sitcom
a
piece
serious
of it.
treatment of the
But I
lives
didn't-
of Black gay
I didn't
men.
think that Noah's Ark gave it. I didn't think it didn't treat it seriously. But I understand what you're saying,
Mhm.
as serious as in comparison to Pose. This writing for these Black, brown, gay, queer, trans men and women was a lot heavier and realistic as compared to Noah's Ark in certain aspects.
Yeah.
Because there's still certain aspects of Noah's Ark that were true for that time.
Yeah.
Just like there are certain aspects that are true for Pose for that time as well.
Yeah.
So but I kind of liked it. I liked the
Spiller
lighthearted.
Boy said it was gay good times. I mean, I think it was a little better than that.
But it was cute though.
It's not quite giving that to me, but
it was cute though. It was real cute. I just who did you identify with in Noah's Ark, if anybody?
I felt like I was probably most like Alex.
Okay. Whereas I felt like I was most like Chance.
I
Amongst my group of.
I feel like other people thought I was Chance, but who I thought I was
Alex.
You know me more, and I feel like I think you would agree that other people, even like people in the leather community, like our brothers, would think that I was Chance.
Probably.
But I'm not Chance.
No. And that's a good thing.
Right. And not saying there's anything wrong with being
no,
Chance.
not at all. That's a good thing. But then at the same time, it's like that shows me that you don't really pay attention. Not you, but the people paying attention to you. And
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay. But yeah, I think I and you know, I'm not putting you out there, but I've had my Ricky moments.
I certainly
know you've had your Ricky moments.
Wait a minute. I don't appreciate the emphasis.
I mean,
on
I'm just saying.
Oh, y'all heard her right. This bitch said, "You have certainly."
I'm just saying. I mean,
your Ricky moments. You know, I had a crush on Alex's husband at first,
Trey.
Yeah, but then I was just like, "Am I in love with him, or am I in love with the light-skinned green eyes?"
Oh yeah, that was Trey. Yeah,
it's like when you pull back, it was like, ooh, cute light-skinned man. But when you sort of zoomed in,
you were like, you're playing.
He's not unattractive, but he's not like
you're just the Bishop Ricky did. Bitch, you don't know me like that, bitch. I don't know what the fuck you talking about, freaky. Bitch, you don't know me like that, freaky motherfucking
Freaky McNasty
bitch,
said
you don't know me.
That Epic was Ricky.
No, the worker that's called displacement. You know what that means? That means that bitch is trying to put her shit on me. Ricky.
I mean, everybody wanted Janito, so there we go.
Yeah, Janito, listen, it's Janito. Lord have mercy. But
yeah, I mean, it's funny that no one was like, I'm Noah. It was like, girl, because Noah was a mess.
Well,
I mean, if Noah wasn't a mess, Noah wasn't a mess. That was wrong. That's very wrong. But I just don't know that Noah seemed to make silly decisions that I was like, and maybe it's because we're on the outside, we're sort of seeing all of the perspectives. Just like, girl,
I've made some of those decisions that Noah has made.
I certainly have, but I don't want to be that person.
Right. So I'm agreeing with that.
Right.
And his decisions led to bad situations.
Right.
So, but anyway.
But anyway. I would love to see that. So, all right. So, I mean, we have parted the bullshit well beyond, which is fine. So, between this week and next week, I am going to create like a
the 2 minute break,
like a 2 minute break. So then
we can make it a dance break. Well, we can't make it a dance break.
Not a dance break, but it's going to be a video. It's going to be a video.
Yeah.
You know, we got plenty of pictures and others. We need to do another photo shoot.
Yeah, we still have the. We are all. I am all over the place. I am not saying you. I am.
We just need to start taking pictures whenever we're together. Not like on the show like this, but
Right.
like when we go out to dinner. You know, certainly when we go to Fort
You talking about
Lauderdale.
Baby Gat?
Baby Gat was cute too.
Baby
Yeah.
Gat annoyed the shit out of me.
I didn't say he wasn't annoying.
He just annoyed the
saying he
shit
was-
out of me.
He's the kind that's like
And I
real
always-
loud and annoying.
Yeah.
And then you put your hand on their ass and you pull them close, or you shove them against the wall and you shut them up real quick. And then, you know, like you stick your finger in their booty hole and they start, you know, then because you just got to know how to work them.
He's that. He did exactly what he would have done with me, because this has happened to me several times. That person wants to be with you, tell them absolutely not, and they say, "All right, I respect your boundaries, I respect it," and so forth. And then the moment they see the crack in the door, they're like, "What up?" And you're like, "Bitch, no!" Like that has happened 85,000 times, and I absolutely, case in point,
Oh boy.
down in
Not old boy from Pennsylvania. Old boy in down there. Yes. Mm-hmm. Got it.
that one too. The one up in
Yeah. But anyway, so we're going to create a video, like a 2-minute video that's going to allow us to change the battery. So then we don't have to feel like we got to stop right at, because there's no reason this show needs to only
we
be
don't
90
know.
minutes,
It
so.
doesn't have to be. We had that conversation, which is one of the reasons why I'm glad we're here.
Yeah.
Because, you know, at the other place, we was like, you're bitch, y'all gotta go. We got the next show coming in.
Well, all right, get into this beautiful bean footage, and we will see you all on the back end.
Yes, indeedy.
All right, kids, thank you all for joining us. We always have a lovely time with you, and, you know, start getting into and expecting, you know, a little bit of a longer show, you know, because what we've got, we
always run over. Yeah, we always run. Well, I kind of know. I don't know if we're going to run over. We always have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Well, Legendary is next week.
Legendary,
and then in a week or so,
we have some new
Drag
stuff.
Race starts.
Drag Race starts, but then we are out in
Are we taking all of July off?
Well, we're going to do the week down in as an episode.
Oh, we're 100% doing an episode.
So yes, so I don't know if we want to use that, like how we want to do it. So just we're talking amongst ourselves, but we're trying to include everybody in this as well. We normally take our month of July.
Gotta take this camera with me because I hadn't initially.
We take our month of July usually off. But I'm sorry, not July is.
We usually do take July
it's
off.
July,
we do a lot of
it's
travel.
July. But then because June is always busy, we're like, it's just exhausting. Pride month, and we take July off to do travel and stuff. So we're trying to figure out how we're gonna do that in July. But just stay tuned. We have a couple more weeks. The next couple weekends, next week I'll be here, but the following week I will not be.
Right.
And so we'll figure that out.
Well, you'll
as
have to do a video.
Oh no, bitch! I plan on doing a video. Honey.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so
bitch! I plan on doing this.
So y'all can get ready. There will be a rebuttal to. There will be. Dominion couldn't join us because he's too poor. Trust me when I tell you. When I texted him, or called him, I called you.
I think you text me.
And then I was like, hey, how's it going? He was like, I'm not there because I'm too poor. And baby, I could feel the heat through the text message. Woo!
but we'll see. We're gonna pull it together.
Right.
But anyway, as always, we really thank you guys for spending your time with us. You could do it anywhere else. We appreciate you guys for being here. Just nothing but love. Thank you so much. I don't even know what else to say anymore, but we really appreciate it. So thank you guys for tuning in every week.
100% the same. We've got a lot coming up for the next couple of weeks, and we are excited for you guys to take the journey with us. And I think we're going to do some gag-worthies. We're going to have to do some like gag-worthy stunts when we go to Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, and we also may have a guest on the show. I'm not going to spill anything, but we may have a guest on the show possibly. So we'll see how that works.
All right.
So
get us to a ball.
Lakes, I'm working on that. I'm telling you, it's been canceled for this year, the one I want to take you to, but let me work on that. If it's something that's of quality, I don't want you to go and then talk about me and be like, this bitch, like, listen, y'all already fucked up my Yelp review on my walk when I took y'all in the neighborhood because, you know, we didn't do 5 miles.
The walk.
Because we didn't do 5 miles. You know, my Yelp review went down. What's up with that?
I totally enjoyed the walk.
Somebody's Yelp review reviews on Yelp made my stuff go down. So I don't know. I mean, you know, even the motherfucking cicadas is looking at me a little different now. What's up with that?
So we got to talk to Lynx because we do need a
pit crew.
We need a pit crew.
We need a first. Hey, can you all work? We need to. What would you guys like us to call you?
Yes.
I don't want, because I know a lot of people on YouTube will refer to their people as subbies. I don't necessarily, because you have subscriptions. I know people will, you know, they're like for TS Madison's, they're part of the Maddie Mob. This is the BGKH show, so I'm not sure.
The boogers.
The peanut gallery. Okay. So listen, do us a favor, hit us up either in Facebook or Messenger or even an email. Like, give us a name for what we can refer to all the people that come into. You don't quit it. Give us a name for give us a name that we can call you guys, because we really appreciate you guys. We want to make sure that we treat you guys with respect, but we also want you guys to have a good time, and we also want you guys to know that this name only belongs to us. And this means when we say this name, we know specifically who we're talking about.
Yes.
Like we have some first ladies and first gentlemen already that are part of this.
Yes.
And we also have the first 2 people that actually came to a live taping, and that was Bougie Girl and Spectre.
Yes.
Those were the first 2 people that came to a taping. So, and Lola also, who's not on here tonight, she was also one of our early subscribers who checks in a lot as well.
Much.
So again, we just, you know, we want to kind of recognize some people, but give us a name, like shoot us a quick email, hit us up on Facebook Messenger, give us a name. We want to try to figure that out.
Well, all right. So again, thank you all for coming out. We will see you next week. So with that, we will say, God bless you and good night. Mwah. Where the fuck did the mouse go?
Did we end it?
No, there we go.
Did we